FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, the official partner series to the BSB. The original and best British championships for mini bikes. This is Cool Fab Racing.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Whilton Mill in Northamptonshire for live coverage of round 7 of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championships. We're the official partner series to the BSB and on the road to MotoGP, and some of those we will be hearing about in due course. Our first race of the afternoon is the Junior LC40 Elite. Casey O'Gorman will start on pole position ahead of Bailey Stewart-Campbell. We have got Josh Bannister and Ryan Hitchcock due to be on the second row of the grid, but it doesn't seem to be a Josh Bannister, unfortunately. So starting initially from third place, has stopped around the circuit. We look towards the red lights now though, as we're about to get a race start to get round 7 underway. The revs build, the tension rises. We are racing at Whilton Mill, and it's Casey O'Gorman who leads going into turns 1 and 2, left and then right for the first time out of 9, and there's already gaps quite significantly on Bailey Stewart-Campbell. Emmanuel Brinton got a great start and is getting really stuck in for the battle for second place at the moment as they make their way through the really tight complex of corners. Left, right and then right again, and then all the way down to a right-handed hairpin. We have to stop on a dime, but so far it's Casey O'Gorman in the lead quite convincingly from Bailey Stewart-Campbell. But it is all battles for second place, Kiko Giles.
Casey O'Gorman ahead of Bailey Stewart-Campbell then as they go round to complete the first lap, and that is Sullivan Mounsey on the inside of Emmanuel Brinton. Makes that job done. So Sullivan Mounsey qualified 7th and is already making headway up to 4th place. We know how quick of a starter he is. We've got a rider down. Marshall's running. Not sure who that is as we try.
So the final corner on the left-hand side of the final corner. Marshall's off.
We're not sure who it is. It's one of the leaders, because Sullivan Mounsey is now up into 3rd place. Bailey Stewart-Campbell has not come through. Was it Bailey Stewart-Campbell? I wonder. He is at the bottom of our timing screen. Yes, he is. There he goes past. So Bailey Stewart-Campbell then crashes at the last corner. But Casey O'Gorman is leading this now with Ryan Hitchcock and Sullivan Mounsey, and that has had a huge effect already on the championship. The gap is already up to 68 points.
Well, Casey O'Gorman getting a good run of it so far. 1.7 seconds ahead of Ryan Hitchcock in second place. Sullivan Mounsey, though, on Ryder's left-hand side into the final few corners. There's a very tight chicane, left and then right, and then 2 corners left to go through the paddock and over the line, and that's what takes you through a lap of the 1.2 kilometre Whilton Mill International Circuit, which hosts round 7 of the championship. And Ryan Hitchcock now is 3.339 behind Casey O'Gorman, the number 7 rider, really getting a fantastic run so far. A brief look over the right shoulder of Ryan Hitchcock into turn 3. It's a very long run up to turn 3, so it really does allow a good slipstream to be had. Sullivan Mounsey, who enjoyed some great slipstreaming battles at Glanigors in North Wales 3 weekends ago, is making the most of it once again into turn 7, and it's very tight so far.
Sullivan Mounsey's got a good run on Ryan Hitchcock. Sullivan Mounsey's going to look on the inside at turn number 8. Can't quite make it work that time, but Sullivan Mounsey, it's a matter of when and not if. Ryan Hitchcock under attack from Sullivan Mounsey, but out front Casey O'Gorman is absolutely flying away at the moment. He is leading, fastest up of the race to him. Sullivan Mounsey hasn't quite disposed of Ryan Hitchcock just yet. Emmanuel Brinton is in 4th place. James Cook 5th, getting alongside Emmanuel Brinton. He's going to go on the inside, but can't outbreak Emmanuel Brinton. James Cook then stays 5th. Mason Foster is in 6th place. 7th place is Evan Belford. Then it's Johnny Garnis. So Johnny Garnis on his return from injury in a very, I've got to say, an impressive, solid and pretty spectacular 8th place. 9th place Clayton Edmonds, and Luca Hopkins completes the top 10, but Casey O'Gorman is romping clear at the moment. He has got a lead of nearly 5 seconds.
Yellow flags at turn 5 for a rider who went down. The rider's up. and is about to rejoin the race, so looks to be okay at the moment. But Casey O'Gorman is relishing the 4.5 second lead he has at the moment, but it's all hands on deck for second place between Ryan Hitchcock and Sullivan Mounsey. Emmanuel Brinton in a great fourth place at the moment, but has got James Cook and Mason Foster well and truly stuck into that battle as well. So Johnny Gardes also trying to get involved. All hands on deck in the junior LC40 elites, and in the searing temperatures of Whilton Mill, Sullivan Mounsey, the number 44, is really turning on the heat for second place. Ryan Hitchcock just holding on.
Ryan Hitchcock riding a very good race, really, very defensive and making it work for him. He's not really cracked under pressure yet. He's riding comfortably, looks good on the bike. Sullivan Mounsey gets a good drive though, out of turn 8 into turn 9, looks on the inside, but that tight angle there, just not able to pull off. Sullivan Mounsey there, third place. Ryan Hitchcock in second place. Those two are going head to head at the moment, and Emmanuel Brinton's right in the mix as well. So we've got a massive battle for second place, all the way back to Evan Belford in 7th place. So there is no way that 6 will go into 2.
Well, only time will tell. 5 laps completed, 4 laps left to go for Casey O'Gorman. 6.7 seconds ahead of Ryan Hitchcock. Sullivan Mounsey just holding on to third place now. Emmanuel Brinton getting well and truly stuck in. Looks to ride his right-hand side going into turn number 60. Right-handed hairpin towards the paddock. Couldn't quite get it stopped and moved up in time. So this is helping the number 144 of James Cook through turns 7 and 8. Too long. Left-handers transitions into a right and down a short sprint into the final complex of 4 corners. The chicane is just what Sullivan Mounsey needs to get back, claw back onto the back of the number 43 rider, but they're all holding on. And 3 laps left to go. I think they're all lining themselves up for a last lap push, certainly getting themselves into the correct position. But it is O'Gorman, Hitchcock, Mounsey, Brinton and Cook, your top 5. Mason Foster, Evan Belford, Johnny Garnes, Clayton Edmonds and Joe Farragher, your top 10. Troy Jeffrey, Bailey Stewart-Campbell, Jamie Woodcock, Holly Harris and Luca Hopkins rounding out the top 15. Josh Bannister, unfortunately, the only retirement.
Casey O'Gorman's got a huge lead. It's nearly 8 seconds. The main battle is for this second place. Sullivan Mounsey gets a really good drive getting out of turn 8 now. This time he's alongside Ryan Hitchcock. This time he lets the brakes off, and this time he pushes Ryan Hitchcock almost onto the grass. They both keep it on the island. A forceful move, a tight left-hander which flicks right after that. Sullivan Mounsey is on course for a second place at the moment. Can Ryan Hitchcock respond, or has to open up the floodgates now? Will everyone else come streaming through? Emmanuel Brinton is next up.
Well, Ryan Hitchcock into the slipstream of Sullivan Mounsey into turn number 3, stops it very well on the first of the right-handed corners into the very tight complex, working their way all around each other. It's very good stuff for them to be working themselves around like they are. Sullivan Mounsey, the number 44, is really enjoying second place, and it's Emmanuel Brinton who's getting closer and closer and closer to Ryan Hitchcock. He's going to try and make a move, much like Sullivan did a lap ago. Ryan Hitchcock moves to rider's right-hand side, is wide to the pass though, and subsequently keeps the position. But we're on to the final lap already, would you believe? Casey O'Gorman, a 54.494 is the fastest lap of this race. Our battle for second place could probably only dream of that. They were around a second slower on fastest lap times alone. But Sullivan Mounsey into second place, Ryan Hitchcock in third. They've only got 2/3 of a lap left to do it with such a long run into the opening complex, and it's going to be very close now. Ryan Hitchcock can't quite get it close enough. Emmanuel Brinton looking maybe up the inside at turn number 6, half a mind to do so, couldn't quite keep it going, but Casey O'Gorman is going to win this race.
Casey O'Gorman, just with a few corners left, will come back for that battle for second and third in a moment. But Casey O'Gorman, this is going to do his championship a whole load of good. He could take it this weekend. We didn't think it was possible, really. The championship standings, though, are going to be turned around. Casey O'Gorman takes another win in Cool Fab. Now then, we have this big battle. Sullivan Mounsey has broken clear. At the moment, second place looks like it's going to go to Mounsey, who is going to be third to the line. Ryan Hitchcock just holds on ahead of Emmanuel Binton, James Cook, Aaron Belford. Mason Foster slips back to 7th place. 8th place, Heroic Ride, Johnny Garnes. 9th place, we should be seeing Clayton Edmonds across the line. And then 10th should be Joe Farragher. But what a race that was. Case O'Gorman gets another hand and a few fingers on that championship crown in the Junior LC40 Elite, whilst Sullivan Mounsey, Heroic Ride through the order from 7th on the grid to 2nd, and Ryan Hitchcock, another podium, 3rd place. What a race.
A great start to the weekend for Casey O'Gorman. Might only be racing in 2 categories this weekend, but a 9.9 second lead by the time he came to finish the last lap. 9 laps in this race, and such a great win for Casey O'Gorman, the number 7, doing the business again. But Sullivan Mounsey, a phenomenally brilliant ride for the number 44 rider, left it late to make the move on Ryan Hitchcock, forced him out wide, was not going to let them through. But Ryan Hitchcock in 3rd place takes the podium again though, and another good result for Ryan on a real upturn in form over the last month or so. And that was the start of our race weekend, although there is plenty more action still to come as you're listening to live coverage, live visual radio coverage, round 7 of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championships.
Is Cool Fab Racing. Live coverage all season on the Cool Fab Racing Facebook page and on the website coolfabracing.com.
And the AC40 rookies now head out on to the circuit for their first race of the weekend, second race of the day. And Ruben Bray enjoying a good run of form at the moment. The rest of the grid will line up in just a few moments' time, but a great entry, a few new riders in this weekend, but the AC40 rookies will line up as such. We will see Ruben Bray starting on pole position ahead of Ollie Horner, Henry McCartney and Samuel Munson, 2 of our championship real fighters over the last 7 rounds. The last 6 rounds. This is round 7 on the second row of the grid. Charlie Huntingford and Blake Wilson on row 3, ahead of Archie Gibbs, Ollie Sims, William Harris and Warwick Brady, with Luke Fitchett and Luke Schofield rounding out 11th and 12th. Violet Stainer and Joshua Williams on row 7, with Luke Hutchinson coming on at 15th place. But as they make their way now onto the start line, ready for their race start, and as the nerves start to build for these young riders, Marshall's just making sure everyone's lined up. 1 or 2 a little further around the circuit, so a little while before we get the race underway. We'll be starting with the lights starting this weekend. Gladigores last time around was starting with a green flag. Thank you very much for tuning in to live visual radio coverage on the Cool Fab Racing pages, on motorsport.radio, on the social media. Plenty of ways to tune in live to the coverage of the 2018 season. But the riders look towards the start line. The red lights ablaze. They're on now. It's a long enough hold, but they both all get underway now. A good start for the number 31 of Henry McCartney, riding into 3rd place immediately into this race. But Ollie Horner and Ruben Bray from the first row of the grid have got away. They've all got away cleanly, so as they make their way up towards turns 3 and 4 for the first time, and already a change for the race lead. Ollie Horner and Ruben Bray scrapping. They change the position, and they keep changing the positions as they come into turns number 6. This first lap out of 8. Well, it's all changed almost for the race lead. Down into 4th place has gone Henry McCartney, so they seem to make a place and then they lose it almost instantly. Is that a sign of things to come, Kiko?
It's the main 4 in the championship. Maybe we should double them the Fantastic 4, because they have been the standout of this class this year. Ruben Bray at the moment leading. Samuel Munson into second place though. Samuel Munson has gone through into second place ahead of Ollie Horner. So Ollie Horner back to third. Nice move on the inside at the left-hander, turn 9. One of the final few corners. Lovely little move there from Samuel Munson. Neat and tidy. Wasn't too rash and gets the job done. Now will set his sights on Ruben Bray out front. So it's Ruben Bray ahead of Samuel Munson. Ollie Horner third and fourth, and a little bit of a distant fourth now. Henry McCartney got a rider down, a rider up and okay. That's on the exit of turn 8. Don't know if it's a crash or a bike issue, but the rider is up and okay. Nonetheless, being attended to is the bike. But at the front, it is Ruben Bray. Now, who would have thought this 40-point gap in the championship? This is going to turn it right on its head at the moment. Ruben Bray riding fantastically well. He has been all weekend so far here at the 7th round of the championship at Whilton Mill.
Well, they've all been riding fantastically over the course of the season. Each of the rounds has seemed to have brought out something extra in these very young riders, some of the youngest riders in the paddock. And they will all be thinking to 2019 now as well, to which classes they want to move up to. I know many like Ruben Bray be looking at the mini GP bikes, one day hoping they will be on those. But it is just 0.7 of a second between Ruben Bray and Samuel Munson. The 72 with the fastest lap, and now in the slipstream as they go from the long run through the long right-hander at turn 2 up towards the tight turn 3. Has used that to good effect, has used that to take the race lead emphatically on Ryder's right-hand side much before turn 6. There's a big complex of corners, right, left, right again. And Samuel Munson with the fastest lap on that last lap was not hanging about and has taken the race lead. A couple of bike lengths ahead of Ruben Bray. Ollie Horner also keeping tabs in third place at the moment. So still a three-way scrap just about for the top step of the podium. Ruben Bray not now allowing Samuel Munson to just ride off though into the final 2 corners. Ruben Bray, the number 12 rider, keeping very close to the number 72 as they come over the line. Third place is still Ollie Horner, and fourth place is still Henry McCartney. But Blake Wilson versus Charlie Huntingford getting quite tasty as well. The 108 and 76 were only covered by 0.3 of a second over the line as they just came through. They make their way up towards turn 3 now, and the number 108 of Blake Wilson just moving to Ryder's right-hand side, trying to cover off any potential attack, holding off just for the moment. So too Samuel Munson, who's got not just Ruben Bray but Ollie Horner fighting for that race lead. Samuel Munson may be quick, and is quick, but is not quite moving away. In fact, really seems to be struggling with straight line speed. Cruising around Ryder's right-hand side almost was Ruben Bray. Just an extra couple of horsepower, maybe, but that is so critical on these small bikes. The number 72 just holding off Kiko.
The number 72 just holding off Ruben Bray at the moment, but there is very, very little between the leading 3 now. Samuel Munson, Ruben Bray and Ollie Horner. Ollie Horner to me looks the danger rider here. He is in third place and looking very, very fast, although they just got through some traffic, and that has really split the group up massively. So at the moment Samuel Munson has got a gap over Ruben Bray. Is it going to be big enough? Well, only time is going to tell.
Well, time will tell. We are halfway through this race. Samuel Munson still leads from Ruben Bray and Ollie Horner. Henry McCartney and Blake Wilson are the top 5. Charlie Huntingford and Ollie Sims 6th and 7th, with William Harris, Warwick Brady and Luke Fitch at the top 10. Luke Schofield and Luke Hutchinson, so Luke's 10th, 11th and 12th. Violet Stainer, Joshua Williams in 13th and 14th. Archie Gibbs only completing 1 lap. But through the final couple of corners, the battle for the race lead still on. Samuel Munson only 2 tenths ahead of Ruben Bray. They might have had to make their way through another rider in this race. That's not put the brakes on Ruben's ambitions to win this race though. With 3 laps left to go into turn 3, it is still all to play for.
Still all to play for, 3 laps to go. Samuel Munson still with the lead, but only by a couple of tenths of a second, really. Very, very little between himself and Ruben Bray. Ruben Bray has worked massively hard to get back on the shirt tails of Munson so far, but 2 and a little bit laps to go. They're at turn 7. Through 7, they'll flick it through turn 8. That's the left-hander. A little look over the shoulder from Samuel Munson just to get a gauge of where his nearest rival is. That's Ruben Bray. They flick left, then right, and then out of the right-hander, short burst down to the last corner through that right-hander, take it out a little bit wide on the circuit, and then across the line. And it is Samuel Munson from Ruben Bray. Ollie Horner a solid third at the moment, but just lost touch a little bit. Ruben Bray has a big moment at turn 2 on the entrance of turn 2. Front end was all over the place, somehow managed to hold it on, but Samuel Munson still your leader with a lap and a bit to go.
And it's being closed in. Ruben Bray, the number 12, still with a bit between his teeth, finding just bits of pace that Samuel Munson even seems to be struggling with, and making their way through turn 6. Just rolls off their brakes so easily, effortless for the number 12 rider. Ruben really maturing over the course of the season. And as they make their way through the midpoint of this race, and well, they've only got a lap and a bit left to go into the chicane, the final chicane. Just a handful of corners. They've got one other rider just ahead of them, which has been caught by Samuel Munson, perhaps at the wrong time for the number 72 rider, and this is inviting Ruben Bray to close in again, up towards the line. Last lap board is being shown. It's a two-way fight for the race lead. Munson versus Bray.
Munson versus Bray indeed. Will Samuel Munson be able to hold on to his position ahead of Ruben Bray? We will wait and see. Ollie Horner in third place. Now just a bit too distant, I think, to have a say on the lead in 2. It really is between Munson and Bray as they come through now. Turn number 5, that is. They're just coming through to some traffic there. Everyone's through safely. Samuel Munson still leading. Ruben Bray is still second. Third is Ollie Horner. He's just not quite there yet, though. I think Samuel Munson may have this. He's got a good gap at the moment. Through turn 8, we're going down to the last 3 corners now. Samuel Munson is just about going to resist this. Ruben Bray is closing in on this final lap. There is only a couple more corners to go. Ruben Bray isn't going to be able to get there. It looks to me like it's going to be Samuel Munson. They're going to come to the line side by side. Ruben Bray got a good drive, but it wasn't good enough. Samuel Munson holds on to take the win. Ruben Bray is second. Third is Ollie Horner, but your championship leader takes a win yet again. Samuel Munson, dominant force in a race. Wasn't quite dominant that time around, though. Munson, Bray, Ollie Horner, Henry McCartney, Charlie Huntingford is 5th. 6th is Blake Wilson. We await Ollie Sims in 7th place. Then it will be William Harris, Luke Fitchett and Warwick Brady in 10th, as we just await all of those guys to come across the line. What a race that was. The first race of the AC40 rookies. What a thriller.
Well, great race from the AC40 rookies, their first of the weekend. Samuel Munson just 53 hundredths over the line to take the win ahead of Ruben Bray, and a great scrap between the pair of them. Ollie Horner quite close throughout the race, and the number 70 finishing in 3rd place. Henry McCartney really didn't seem to be happy in 4th place, thumping the handlebars going over the line when taking the checkered flag. Charlie Huntingford in 5th ahead of Blake Wilson, Ollie Sims, William Harris, Luke Fitchett and Warwick Brady for your top 10. Luke Schofield, Luke Hutchinson, Violet Stainer, Joshua Williams and then Archie Gibbs round out the 15-strong order in that race. And well, they will be back out for 2 more races tomorrow. But up next here, round 7 of the Cool FAB-Racing British Mini Bike Championships will be the Mini GP50s. And thank you very much to everyone who's tuned in on social media, on the Cool FAB-Racing pages and on motorsport.radio as well. Got plenty of action still to come, and the Mini GP and the Mini GP50s will be out in the not too distant future.
It is go, go, go! This is the Cool FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championship.
The Mini GP50s head onto circuit for their first race of the afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us for live visual radio coverage of round 7 of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championships. We're live from Whilton Mill, where the first of the races for the Mini GP50s this weekend is about to get underway. We have no Casey O'Gorman in this race in the Mini GP50s this weekend, and there's almost no Eddie O'Shea. The 114 rider pulled off to riders left, just coming out of the pit lane, and the bike is still trying to be restarted by one of the marshals. Could get into this race. We'll have to find out in a few moments' time, but Josh Bannister and James Cook will start on the front row of the grid. Emmanuel Brinton and Eddie O'Shea was due to be in third and fourth. Hitchcock, Mellor, Walker, Johnson, Payne and Desoy your top 10, and Emmanuel Brinton seeming very lonely now on row 2. And the 114, which is Eddie O'Shea, who couldn't quite get the bike started, still can't get it started, will not be taking into this race. A great shame there for Eddie, who's had some great runs, great rides over the past few weekends. But as they get ready very tentatively now, looking towards the lights, the marshals just making sure everyone is in the correct position. And Eddie O'Shea looking on very unhappily as the race about to get underway. It's going to be Bannister versus Cook, number 2 versus number 44 off the front row of the grid. And it seems Marshall's still having a quick word with race control. The race may well get underway in a moment's time. The riders very impatient, but the race start board is given. Be getting underway in just a moment's time as they look towards the red lights now. They are waiting for them to come on. The red light's still not illuminated. It's a long old hold. They're on now, and it's still a long hold. They get underway now. A good start by James Cook. Gets him into the lead into turns 1 and 2 for the first time out of 12. It is second place for Josh Bannister, but only just had to hold off Emmanuel Brinton, who was fighting very hard for second place, going into turns 2 and 3 for the first time. Further back, Ryan Hitchcock and Dylan Mellor getting well and truly stuck in as they make their way down towards turn 6. A really big entry this weekend, 23 of the Mini GP 50 bikes, a great entry. No Casey O'Gorman in this category though over the course of this weekend, but it just invites potential new winners. Kiko.
James Cook off and running at the front. He has made a good gap as they go down towards a tight turn 9. Josh Bannister second, Emmanuel Brinton is third. Fourth, Ryan Hitchcock. Dylan Mellor giving Ryan Hitchcock a bit of a headache there in fifth. Sixth is Mason Johnston. Then it's Ollie Walker, Kyle Payne, Harrison Desoy and Lucas Brown. But at the moment everyone through cleanly. We have got James Cook out in the lead.
Josh Bannister then running in second, Emmanuel Brinton third, fourth place for Ryan Hitchcock, Dylan Mellor in fifth, and sixth at the moment is the reprieve of Mason Johnson aboard the 808 machine, who's got not only Ollie Walker but Harrison Desoy behind, much like at Glannygores a couple of weekends ago. Mason Johnson enjoying some fantastic battles into turns 7 and 8. One left-hander, two left-handers. They're not quite 90 degrees. They are medium speed, which is just that pain. You've got to really balance the throttle and the brakes. But on the big blast towards the final chicane and the final few corners, left, then right, and then a little run before the final right-handed corner at Whilton Mill. So inviting to run wide, but you don't want to run over the big curbing. It will bounce you all over the shop. Not a comfortable feeling. But James Cook really taking the race lead by storm. 1.3 seconds ahead of Josh Bannister, who in turn is 2.7 seconds in total ahead of Emmanuel Brinton. That's the battle for third place. Hitchcock, Mellor, fourth and fifth. Johnson and Walker still fighting for 6th and 7th, but they've got Dylan Mellor just ahead of them. They've got Alfie Davidson getting involved. They've even got Kyle Payne starting to close in. So a really big battle starting to build now for 5th place.
Battles all the way down the field, a little bit of contact almost with a couple of riders. Not quite sure who they are. They're still at it as they come to turn 8 and 9, almost banging fairings. That'll be around the Lucas Brown James Rose area, so that is looking like a battle that is hotting up indeed. But at the moment, nothing to stop James Cook, fastest lap of the race last time around 2. He is your race leader. Josh Bannister not able to stick with him at the moment in second place. Big battle all the way down the field though. Mason Johnson under attack. That was from Kyle Payne, and Kyle Payne making a move stick that time, so good move there.
And a great move also by Emmanuel Brinton, now up into second place, just holding off Josh Bannister. So the number 2 rider down into third place for the first time in this race, and Mason Johnson certainly also enjoying a good scrap, but losing 2 positions in the course of half a lap. Will try and close in though as they make their way with Dylan Mellor. Ollie Walker getting truly stuck in for that battle for 5th and 6th now. Over the line, our race leader, the number 44 of James Cook. 4 laps completed, 8 to go. Still a long way to go in this race. And Josh Bannister still second. Ryan Hitchcock now, though, ahead of Emmanuel Brinton for 3rd place. Dylan Mellor 5th, ahead of Ollie Walker in 6th, although not for much longer. The number 48 getting a great run out of turn 2, looks to rider's right-hand side, takes to the apex and takes the position up to 5th.
That's ahead of Ollie Walker, so Ollie Walker... that's ahead of Dylan Mellor. Dylan Mellor just drops back a little bit. Ollie Walker was the rider making the move, of course. Keep an eye out on Thomas Gomez. Now, Thomas Gomez is lapping around 54.8.
Oh, and contact. Is that contact going into turn number 6?
And Thomas Gomez is down. Thomas Gomez is down. I said keep an eye on him. I didn't mean it like that. He's furious with someone out on circuit. So Thomas Gomez, I was just about to say, just done a 54.8 in the company he's with, miles quicker than everyone but the 2 leaders. And Thomas Gomez from 17th on the grid was making massive headway. Thomas Gomez is off, but never mind that. James Cook at the top of this leaderboard at the moment has got a 3-second advantage over Josh Bannister. Thomas Gomez is back going again.
Thomas Gomez does resume in this race, so all well there at the moment, but James Cook 2.8 seconds now ahead of Josh Bannister. Ryan Hitchcock in 3rd place. Well, he's 7.9 seconds behind James Cook. Ollie Walker still holding 5th place. Dylan Mellor and Harrison Desoy fighting away for that. Mason Johnson down a few extra positions. Humphrey Davidson and Kyle Payne up to 8th and 9th. 10th for Lucas Brown with James Rose, Harrison Crosby, Jimmy Parker returning in 13th at the moment. A good return for him. Alessandro Valente and Cameron Saul, the top 15. We also appear to have lost Mason Johnson, unfortunately.
Mason Johnson not on our timing screens, can't see where he has gone, but no stopping the race leader at the moment, James Cook. He's got Thomas Gomez ahead of him. That might not be too bad. Thomas Gomez is lapping around the same time as your leaders, so James Cook got to get ahead of Thomas Gomez now for traffic. Might be difficult, might just give Josh Bannister a bit of an opportunity, although James Cook straight past Thomas Gomez on the straight between turns 8 and 9. So your race lead looks, well, it's come down a bit. 2.8 it was, it's now 2.6. Interesting to see if Josh Bannister is able to close down any more. We'll tell you when they come across the line. The gap is 2.8, so if anything it has gone up. So James Cook making it look a little bit easy. It must run in the family.
So far, well, certainly be probably trying to ignore anything we're saying about him at this point, but 2.8 seconds still, more than plenty ahead of Josh Bannister. Ryan Hitchcock is in 3rd as we've passed the half distance point. We've only got 5 laps left to go now. Time slowly whittling away for Josh Bannister to make any position, but he was 3/10 slower on that last lap, so couldn't get the position made. And further back, Emmanuel Brinton 4th, Ollie Walker in 5th place, still ahead of Dylan Mellor, who's got Alfie Davidson and Harrison Desoy for company into turns 7 and 8 again, left and then left again. Such a long wait to really make. Dylan Mellor not enjoying some good traction at the moment, it seems. He's on rider's right hand side, up the inside, rider's left is Alfie Davidson, makes a position cleanly at the apex of the chicane as they head round past the paddock and up towards the line again. 1 position less now for Dylan Mellor. Alfie Davidson in the number 8 machine into 6th place. A few more points, but that's what you need at this stage in the championship. But with 4 laps left to go, 2.6 seconds for Josh Bannister the race lead compared to James Cook, and it's slowly coming down.
Someone has just got ahead of Mason Johnson. Look, so we're not quite sure. Mason Johnson isn't actually on our timing screen.
Mikey Hardy in 20th place, I think.
No, Mason Johnson is there. He's in the battle for about 4th place. So if for some reason he's not showing up on the top of our timing, so we're not quite sure he's just made that move. Whoever it is sets off after Dylan Mellor now. May have been Harrison Desoy, the number 55.
Well, we will wait and see what that issue is with potentially an issue with the transponder. 3.1 seconds with 3 laps left to go. James Cook, the number 44, controlling the race from the front. Don't need to do much more than that, but Josh Bannister still second ahead of Emmanuel Brinton, who's returned to the podium, passing Ryan Hitchcock not too long ago. The gap between the pair of them, 1.223.
Harrison Desoy it was who went into 8th place that last time round. So Harrison Desoy making headway all the time. Leaders are just battling through the traffic at the moment. James Cook is your race leader at the moment. Josh Bannister is in 2nd place. It really has been a relatively easy day at the office for those two. Clear road ahead of them two.
And as the rider stops on the exit of turn number 4, just on Ryder's left-hand side, they're hopping off the bike now. Looks like the bike's got an issue, so they will be out of this race. Yellow flags temporarily down at that corner, but with 2 laps left to go, it's not likely to see them returning into this race. But James Cook, 3.4 seconds down. The gaps might change, they might fluctuate, but it's been no secret that the number 44 has really enjoyed the run at the front at this time. And with, well, a lap and a half left to go, you just need to sit back and enjoy, really. They've got time to burn. Also pulling off again, Thomas Gomez, who's got another issue with the bike, it seems, waiting for Marshall just to come and assist. So 2 yellow flags out with 1 lap left to go for riders with problems, but the last lap flag is being shown for someone with, touch wood, no such problem, the number 44 of James Cook. 3.5 seconds ahead of Josh Bannister. The wind picks up. The racing, though, is not being disturbed at the moment. It's side by side still for 3rd place. Emmanuel Brinton and Ryan Hitchcock, they come through turn 2. It's going to be close, though. Can Brinton hold off? He's still got a fighting Ryan Hitchcock in 4th place. Just holds him off. But James Cook due to come round for yet another great result.
James Cook, not long left for him. He's just got a few corners. He's on the straight now towards that left-hander, turn 9, and then it'll flick into 10. It's a big wide S's, loops round through 10 and down to turn 11. James Cook through there safely. Yes, he is. James Cook takes the win. James Cook is a winner. Josh Bannister will be 2nd. There's all a big battle for 3rd place and forcing his way through. Ryan Hitchcock just gave Emmanuel Brinton an elbow out onto the grass, so Emmanuel Brinton has been thieved of his 3rd place. Ryan Hitchcock came through there to take 3rd off him, 4th for Emmanuel Brinton. He will not be happy about that, I'm sure. It's a harsh move that Hitchcock put on him. They're coming together now down the back straight. 5th place, Ollie Walker, Alfie Davidson, Harrison Desoy, Dylan Mellor, and then it would have been, I think, yes it is, Mason Johnson in 9th, Lucas Brown 10th, James Rose 11th, Jimmy Parker makes a welcome return in 12th place, 13th Harrison Crosby, Alessandro Valente 14th, and 15th is Cameron Sewell. But what a move from Ryan Hitchcock to take 3rd place away from Emmanuel Brinton there on that last lap.
So James Cook took the victory in the first Mini GP 50 race of the weekend. A great performance from the number 44 rider. Josh Bannister in 2nd place, but Ryan Hitchcock, who stole Emmanuel Brinton 3rd place right at the very end, had that elbow out, as Kiko said, and well, immediately being waved was Ryan Hitchcock. He had his hand up in the air looking back over the line and then took 3rd place in the end. And now next, though, it will be the Extreme 200s, the next race out in just a few moments' time. Round 7 of the 2018 FAB-Racing British Mini Bike Championships. Thank you very much for joining us on the Cool Fab Racing website, on motorsport.radio, and for your comments on social media. We'll be reading many of those out very shortly indeed.
We're now the official partner series to the BSB. This is Cool Fab Racing. The original and best British championships for mini bikes. This is Cool Fab Racing.
The Extreme 200 bikes head onto the circuit, the 1.2 kilometre Whilton Mill International Circuit, and a 12-lap race in prospect. Has got 30 entrants, a massive grid for the Extreme 200s, and Charlie Nesbitt will be starting on pole position ahead of Richard Holmes-Williams, Elliot Pinson and Brad Ray, row 2, and yes, it is that Brad Ray. We'll have more on that very shortly indeed. Gareth Roberts and Josh Watley will be on the third row of the grid ahead of Tom Whedon and Elliot Dufton. Jack Scott and Chloe Jones round out the top 10, with Will Howarth, Brandon Payne, Patrick O'Connor, Alex Vella, Brandon Perrell and Tom Orland rounding out the top 8 rows of the grid. Then we do have a lot more. We've got Josh Ingram, Callum Beach, Felix Hearn, Jamie King, Harvey Claridge starting in 21st ahead of Josh Adler, and Reece Garland, Craig Walker, Callum Wybrow, Elliot Lodge, Ian Jackson, Liam Fairbrother, Joe Duggan and Sean Whittaker rounding out the very large 30-strong grid. And the riders just making their way up into the final few grid slots now. It's a big old grid, and there's a few spaces, including Brad Ray on the second row of the grid. He's not in 4th place, may well be starting from the very back of the grid. Then we've also got missing at the moment, the third row's complete. Then we're missing, alongside Elliot Dufton, we've not got Tom Whedon and we haven't got Jack Scott. And then there's a few other riders at the back as well, so we will all transpire over the next 12 laps, but we shall have to wait and find out who is going to be doing what. So 3 riders lined up at the very back of the field, a couple of the other riders in the race just delegating with each other what exactly they're all trying to do. Richard Holmes-Williams lined up in 2nd place, very well pointed towards turn 1. In fact, trying to get a jump on the number 99, which is the bike that Charlie Nesbitt's using. So here comes number 77, here comes number 59, so 77
Callum Beach
is Callum Beach. We've also got number 59,
Josh Alder.
Okay, so that is quite the jumbled order. We've got Brad Ray now lining up in 4th place. Quick chat with race control as well. So the start line marshals all trying to figure out who's going where, but a lot of people just trying to figure out exactly where they're all going to be lining up. It does seem to be a little jumbled in places, but we'll wait and see.
Whilst we got a minute, might want to keep an eye on Brad Ray off the line. He is like a scolded cat in British Superbikes. There is no reason why he probably won't do the same here. We are ready for a start then.
You're listening to live coverage of round 7 of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Minibike Championships. on the Motorsport Radio, on the Cool FAB-Racing websites and on social media. As the official partner series to the BSB, we've got one of the BSB's finest, Brad Ray, starting in 4th place, but the front row shared by Charlie Nesbitt and Richard Holmes-Williams is a long old on the line, but they finally are unleashed, heading towards turn 1 for the first time. Almost being cut off is Richard Holmes-Williams. Got a great start. There's a faller down at turn number 2, right in front of the order. That's 2 or 3 bikes riders down who are involved there. So at least 3 riders down there at the moment. Could well be a red flag, but as the race continues, nonetheless, it was a good start from Richard Holmes-Williams. They all got caught up, though, and so far they make their way into turn 6 for the first time out of 12. All running wide, Bradley Ray running in 3rd place at the moment, Richard Holmes-Williams in 2nd place. And leading this race, it looks to be Charlie Nesbitt, although a very chaotic start there, Kiko.
Not sure who the fallers are. They are at the side of the circuit, bikes in a heap. One of them has been
red flag's been called.
We have a red flag. Red flag then for the riders down at that first turn, melee. Red flag indeed. Now they will all know that. They will come back down towards the start and finish line. Bradley Ray actually got a terrible start that time. Did not make a good start.
I think you need to start making predictions, Kiko, because every time you keep saying them, they all miraculously tend to undo themselves.
So he must have been listening. So no idea what's happened there, but a couple of riders down at the first turn. And we have a red flag situation. So now we've got an ambulance coming onto the circuit. That will be to attend to a situation down there.
Meanwhile,
the grid has been reformed.
Okay, so we'll be back ready with the restart for the first race of the Extreme 200s in just a few moments' time. You're listening to live coverage of round 7 of the 2018 Cool FAB-Racing British Minibike Championships. Thank you very much for joining us on social media, on the Cool FAB-Racing website and on motorsport.radio.
This is Cool FAB-Racing. Live coverage all season on the Cool FAB-Racing Facebook page and on the website coolfabracing.com.
The Extreme 200s are about to restart their race after a very brief red flag. All riders have been moved and seem to be okay, so now we will get underway in just a moment's time. Many of the riders still trying to restart their bikes after having sat on the grid for a few moments. Richard Holmes-Williams starting on the first row of the grid, 2nd place, and is still struggling to get it restarted, so may well have to sit out this race restart. We're being told they're not going to be given another warm-up lap. They'll just be going straight from the grid, which won't do much good for their temperatures otherwise. it seemed to be a struggle. Richard Holmes Williams furiously pushing down the right foot to try and get the bike restarted, and is not having much luck in doing so at the moment. So it could just be just one rider on the first row, and one rider on the second row of the grid. So looking a bit bare towards the front. Looking further back, everyone seems to be in their normal grid slots. Richard Holmes Williams is not going to be taking the start of this race. So Charlie Nesbitt, by comparison, will be leading by turn 1, you would expect. And as the red lights are on now, they're underway. A good start again by Charlie Nesbitt, leading. Into second place goes Bradley Ray through turns 1 and 2 for the first time. Richard Holmes Williams does get underway, but at the very back of the field. How long will it be? We've got 12 laps for Richard Holmes Williams to make progress, as with everyone else. But so far, Charlie Nesbitt leads from Bradley Ray. Not a sentence you hear very often. Josh Watley in third place, Gareth Roberts in fourth. And we've got a fall, and it's Richard Holmes Williams has actually lost it coming out of turn 3 and 4 in his anger. Just spun the rear wheels a bit too much, just carry on and into this race, but everyone else through cleanly.
He was riding like a maniac to come through, so Richard Holmes Williams, he risked tripping up over slower riders, so unfortunately that seems to have happened. Out front though, Charlie Nesbitt. Spud Nesbitt is leading Bradley Ray at the moment. They come across the line. This is going to be a proper race now. This will be very, very fast indeed. The two leading riders in this race are massive exports to British motor racing now, and both of those will be going head to head. Charlie Nesbitt leads Brad Ray at the moment. They are at turn 4, flicking through to turn 5, a fast right-hander accelerating through it. Hard braking into turn 6, another right-hander. Hard on the power. Bradley Ray's bike moving about everywhere. Charlie Nesbitt using all the track, flicking left. Short burst on the power, down a straight into turn 8. This is another left-hander. Bradley Ray loses the front, just about holds on to it. So everyone pushing very hard at the front. Third place is at the moment Josh Watley ahead of Gareth Roberts. Gareth Roberts, your championship leader, can wrap it up this weekend if all results go his way. And a fifth place is Tom Whedon, and Jack Scott from the Motorstar Championship is in 6th.
And well, there was a big moment for Tom Whedon coming out of turn number 10. Very big oversteer moment, just put on a bit too much power too quickly, almost lost it, did though keep it in check, and very well indeed. But it's 0.8 of a second the gap between your race leaders, Charlie Nesbitt and Brad Ray. Josh Watley is 2.2 seconds behind them, and has also got Gareth Roberts, a very fired up Gareth Roberts, who with no Elliot Dufton taking the start in this second restart, means that he's going to get a load more championship points to try and consolidate the lead. Tom Whedon, Jack Scott 5th and 6th, Brandon Payne in 7th. Elsewhere you've got the likes of Chloe Jones, Patrick O'Connor and Will Howarth, your top 10. Will Howarth getting a decent start as well. Richard Holmes Williams did get underway, does continue. He's closing up to the tail of the field, but has cost himself a whole load of time with that mistake on the first lap. But 3 laps in, 50.2 compared to a 50.5 for Charlie Nesbitt and Brad Ray means it's a second for your race lead. I'm sure Bradley's not pushing himself too hard at the moment, but Josh Watley still got Gareth Roberts to contend with, sliding the bike a lot further over the curbing the number 70 rider is. Gareth Roberts not pushing too hard to keep the position at this moment.
Gareth Roberts at the moment is in 4th place, got Josh Watley just ahead of him, not too far ahead of him, within passing distance if you can get it all done. At the moment it's all a bit line astern. Richard Holmes Williams making moves downfield, gets past one and gets past the second only just, so that's downfield. Not sure who he was passing, but he's coming through the field again like a hot knife through butter. His next target will be Jamie King. Bradley Ray 1.2 seconds off Charlie Nesbitt. Nesbitt, fastest lap of the race last time around. He's getting quicker and quicker. Both him and Brad are your leaders. 1.2 seconds between them. They are coming round to complete their 5th lap.
And as we continue, now 4 laps completed, 8 left to go. We've got a third of this race already completed. The race indeed does continue. Gareth Roberts just dropping back slowly. Now 0.3 of a second behind over the line the last time. Should be more as they continue into this race. Brandon Peril and
we have a red flag.
We have a red flag, Dan.
Okay, don't know who or why that is, but we have a stoppage.
But as red flag's called once again, second stoppage of the Extreme 200. That is for an incident down at the final corners, but and riders, just a reminder, riders shouldn't actually be crossing the start line. When a red flag's called, some riders have actually come over the start line, which of course not meant to do so, and of course on full visual radio, and it's probably not for the best. But as the red flag has been called, we'll try not to dob anyone in it, but a few riders heading back into the assembly area via the paddock, so could be another stoppage. But to around about half distance, we had 5 laps completed, or it was in just Charlie Nesbitt and Brad Ray who had completed 5 laps. Number 86 leading 28 by 2.5 seconds at that point, which is not bad going for Charlie and Nesbitt, two of our really popular cool fab riders. And well, second red flag then in the first race of the Extreme 200s, round 7 of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championships. Thank you very much for joining us on Facebook, on social media, and on the Cool Fab Racing pages, as well as on Motorsport Radio. I'm Dan Marr. Alongside me, as ever throughout 2018, is Kiko Giles. We've got plenty of action still to come from this weekend, including out very soon the mini F1 sidecars once we get the Extreme 200 race completed. Then got the mini GP70s out following them, followed by the AC40 Pros, the Pit Bike 140 and Moto teams, and then it will be the senior mini Motos. If you are listening on social media, please do keep leaving your comments, keep sharing it, and let everyone know, let the world know how much you love the Cool Fab Racing Championships. Always have some brilliant racing. Whilton Mill set not to be a disappointment, and already the few kids races we've had so far has really proven how well the racing has been.
It's been a great day's racing so far. Couple of red flags, could do without them. Hopefully everyone is all right, but apart from that, sun's out. It's nearly the end of the season. Everyone's out here now for a bit of fun. The serious part of the season is still to come for some riders. Gareth Roberts, for example, in the Extreme 200 race we've just been seeing and listening to. So it's amazing what good weather can do. The last couple of rounds have just been a bit of a headache for everyone, but it has been a lot easier going this weekend, and I think everyone's enjoying themselves a lot more.
Well, a replay then of the first starts for the Extreme 200s. A few stalling, not quite able to get away, but this was the first lap which caused the original race to be started. A few riders had gone down. Luckily all seemed to be okay. This then, the restart, and everyone going through turns 1 and 2, probably panicking a bit less about it. They're being a bit more cautious. A few running wide over the curbs at Whilton Mill. Very aggressive curbs here. Can really bounce you over the bike and really test your suspension. But then as the red flag's called for the second time, waiting to hear more from race control, and we'll be back with you very shortly here, live coverage of round 7.
This is the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, the official partner series to the BSB. now the official partner series to the BSB. This is Cool Fab Racing.
Hello and welcome back to round 7 of the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championship here from Northamptonshire. We are at the Whilton Mills circuit. We're in a red flag situation at the moment. A couple of accidents just taking place out on the circuit with ambulances and whatnot needing to be in attendance. Everyone hopefully will be alright. We are going to be getting ready for a restart situation here. Dan Marvey joins me after his comfort break. What's the atmosphere like down there then? Everyone busy getting ready for a restart, no doubt?
Quite the opposite. It didn't really seem like much was going on. A few people deliberating with their various sort of race control peoples, but
yes.
Nonetheless, I did want to say a big thank you. And a big thank you to all of the marshals and the medics here over the course of the weekend, doing a great job as ever. And tests like this, well, they really are sent to make sure we're good at what we're doing, and they've done a great job so far. A big thank you to all of them. But we head out onto another warm-up lap for the Extreme 200s. Well, just a confirmation, the ruling is, that's it. The ruling actually is, if you can cross the line, you need to complete the lap at reduced pace, which they all did. So when the red flag comes out, if you pass the entrance to the pit lane, then of course you can't return. But as they make their way now up towards the final couple of corners, is it going to be a full good restart, or will it be, well, it says 10 laps to go, so it looks like it could well be a complete restart. So 10 laps then to the original grid. So Richard Holmes-Williams given a bit of a respite really. Charlie Nesbitt starting on pole position, with Richard Holmes-Williams starting in second place, and will hopefully not make a struggle of a start like he did in the previous restart. Elliot Pinson and Brad Ray will be on your second row. Gareth Roberts and Josh Watley due to be on row 3. And then it's Tom Whedon and Elliot Dufton, Jack Scott, Chloe Jones, Will Howarth, Brandon Payne, Patrick O'Connor, Alex Vella, Brandon Perrell and Tom Orland will round out the top 8 rows. And then it's Josh Ingram with Callum Beach, Felix Hearn and Jamie King on row 10. And then it's Harvey Claridge with Josh Elder, Reece Garland, Craig Walker, Callum Wybrow, Elliot Lodge, Ian Jackson, Liam Fairbrother, Joe Duggan and Sean Whittaker. We had 30 very strong entries over the course of the weekend, but now we've got a change. Well, it seems to be Spud Nesbitt, Charlie Nesbitt, is returning back to the paddock. So after lining up on pole position, then heads back to the paddock. Could it be he's not got enough fuel in the bike? May well be the problem, but as they make their way through, it could just be he wants to start at the very back of the grid. Although he's peeling back into the paddock then. Richard Holmes-Williams got the front row to himself. Brad Ray in second place despite starting in 4th place at the moment. It's a bit empty on this grid at the moment. So far so good. 1-2-6. Richard Holmes-Williams leads out of Bradley Ray. Gareth Roberts into 3rd place at the moment, then 4th place is still being contested. There's a few riders having a look as they go through turns 1 and 2 for the first time out of 10 in this restarted race. They all do make it through cleanly, at least turns 1 and 2. A short sprint through the very tight complex at turn 6 is a different matter though. We've got one rider pulling off 2 riders left hand side. They do rejoin, so just got a bit wide, couldn't quite rejoin. But nonetheless, so far, it's Richard Holmes-Williams now ahead of Brad Ray. Gareth Roberts in 3rd. Josh Watley being there and thereabouts in 4th place for the time being as well.
Richard Holmes-Williams leading then. We saw that he had magnificent pace in the first couple of parts of this race. Let's see what he can do this time around. Brad Ray in 2nd place from 4th on the grid. So good start from Brad, but out front Richard Holmes-Williams. Brad's right on his case though. This is not done just yet. I know his dad's watching back home. Kevin is tuned into the feed. So Brad Ray in 2nd place, looking for a win here back in Cool Fab for this Whilton Mill round in 2018, round 7. And at the moment Brad Ray's giving Richard Holmes-Williams a run for his money. Those two are a little bit clear. Gareth Roberts, who is in 3rd place, Josh Watley is 4th, 5th and 6th Chloe Jones, and then it's Tom Wingdon. So new riders all the way through the leading groups as Josh Watley goes on the inside at turn 9, the tight left-hander to go through on Gareth Roberts. Roberts looks to fight back and get cut back through turns 10 and 11 across the line. It is Richard Holmes-Williams ahead of Bradley Ray, and Josh Watley held on to that third place ahead of Gareth Roberts. Chloe Jones is 5th.
So a great move there, just got a great run coming out of turns 7 and 8. The two left-handers really used the better traction to good advantage, but Brad Ray with the fastest lap, 50.710, marginally quicker than Richard Holmes-Williams' 50.737. So it's Holmes-Williams and Ray first and second, third and fourth still is Josh Watley and Gareth Roberts, so Josh Watley having made the move. Good start also by Harvey Claridge, started a little further down the order, now into 12th at the moment. Great to see Harvey back after injury a couple of weekends ago. Richard Holmes-Williams, his life isn't being made easy by Brad Ray in the same way that Charlie Nesbitt could just pull away. Brad just patiently waiting. It's a long old game.
I think we have Harvey Claridge is pulling out of this race. Harvey Claridge has come to a stop. I think he's pulling over, so Harvey Claridge, after his hard work, I believe that's who it is who's just pulled off. We wait and see. Yellow flags are out and waving for him. Harvey Claridge is dropping down the order. Harvey Claridge is out of it. So just as we say how well he's doing, commentators curse yet again here. We are not having a good day. Dan Marr, all emails to him. Thank you. Had enough of this abuse. Rich Holmes-Williams leading Brad Ray though, and that is your battle out on circuit. Harvey Claridge watches on from the sidelines. Good job it's free, otherwise he'd have to buy a ticket for it, wouldn't he? It's first place Rich Holmes-Williams. Down the straight, Brad Ray in second place. At the moment, those two are your leaders.
Also a fantastic battle going on at the moment between the number 15 of Chloe Jones in 5th at the moment. Bright fluorescent bike, but then relatively dark leathers compared to the really bright fluorescent leathers but quite dark bike of Tom Whedon, the number 177, through turns 3 and 4. Really tight complex as they have to really push the bike from left to right again. Such a hard way to move the bikes around. They do make it through, and they're still side by side trying to give it an attack into turns 7 and 8. Just holding on. They don't need to attack too hard. They've got 6 laps left to go. They've completed 4, on to lap 5 at the moment. Also a great scrap going on between Brandon Payne, Brandon Peril and Will Howard. 7th, 8th and 9th. 8th for the Yellow Peril. Under attack from Will Howard though. Really been invigorated by some great pace in qualifying earlier on this morning.
Bradley Ray's alongside Rich Holmes-Williams. Bradley Ray to the front. So the kid from Lead then decides he wants to have a little go at the front. He was in early, out a bit wide. Rich Holmes-Williams knows he's got to fight straight back if he's to stay in touch with Brad, and doesn't do so. So Bradley Ray then at the front of a Cool Fab Race meeting. Not the first time we've said it, and I'm sure it won't be the last either across this week. Oh, Bradley Ray loses the front and down he goes. I can't believe it. Bradley Ray, I'm meant to be his friend. I cannot believe I've just shot him out of this race. Oh my goodness me. Bradley Ray, Kevin, I know you tuned in. Please accept my apologies. I do not care if I take you off if you take me off your Christmas list. My goodness me. Richard Holmes-Williams will be giving me a handshake later on. Richard Holmes-Williams is back in the lead. Bradley Ray's front end was under him for a week. It was at turn 8, sorry. Unbelievable scenes. Bradley Ray, fastest lap of the race in this race, but certainly I cannot believe what I've just said, or seen for that matter. Bradley Ray's front end. Oh.
Well, I think you need to go and have a lie down for a minute, Kiko Giles, but nonetheless, a great... It does continue though, the thing to mention, he has continued into the race, so he is still in 4th place, he's still got the fastest lap, so could well yet change. We've got 4 laps left to go, and the gap, which was 7.8 seconds since it recorded over the line, is now Richard Holmes-Williams in the lead, ahead of Josh Watley in 2nd, Gareth Roberts in 3rd place on aboard the 2-on-2, going to take a whole host of points away from Elliot Dufton and co in the battle for the championship. But Brad Ray still in 4th, closing in the gap, 52.0 that last lap, so lapping a little slower than Gareth Roberts. Could be down to the damage he sustained when the front went from under him, but so far Richard Holmes-Williams has just got enough breathing space.
We know Bradley Ray doesn't really want to come in the commentary box anyway. I think we've just definitely confirmed that theory right there.
Me and you.
I have just confirmed that theory there for him. No visit I'm expecting from him now, unless it's a smack in the face, I'm fairly sure. Richard Holmes-Williams, though, is your race leader. We cannot take Edison away from him. Richard Holmes-Williams is leading. Josh Watley is in second place. Gareth Roberts is in third place. Bradley Ray is in fourth place. 4 now. Chloe Jones fifth. Tom Whedon sixth. Brandon Payne, Brandon Perrill, Will Howarth, Josh Ingram. That is your top 10. Richard Holmes-Williams out front by a mile now. Over 3.5 seconds is his gap to Josh Watley.
A decent run so far for Richard Holmes-Williams. A lap and a half left to go over the line. It's also been extremely close between Brandon Payne and Brandon Perrill, 7th and 8th. They've been fighting all over the course of the race, but Will Howarth really being stopped now by the yellow Perrill, the 146. One of the most consistent entrants in the Cool Fab Championships. Up the inside goes Will Howarth, has a cheeky look but can't quite make it work. So as they make their way through 7 and 8, they are still fighting tooth and nail, but we are about to see and about to have the last lap flag has been waved for Richard Holmes-Williams. One tour, 1.20 kilometres of this circuit to go. And Richard Holmes-Williams on the 126 machine is working his way through some of the other riders in this race. Doing it masterfully though, and really has got the measure of it.
Bradley Ray in fourth place. 50.9 was the quickest rider out on circuit last time around. It is purely academic at the moment. Richard Holmes-Williams is going to take this win in this championship. Second will be Josh Watley. Third is going to be Gareth Roberts, and then Brad Ray will come home in fourth. Richard Holmes-Williams comes through the last few corners now. 1 to go. Keep it neat, keep it tidy, don't do anything too silly. Through he comes. Richard Holmes-Williams, a dramatic Extreme 200 race finally concludes. Richard Holmes-Williams takes the win. Josh Watley second, Gareth Roberts third. Bradley Ray should be fourth. Yes, he is. Apologies there. Chloe Jones is in fifth place. What a result that is for Chloe Jones on her debut in this paddock. Sixth place, Tom Whedon. Seventh, Brandon Payne, Brandon Perrill. Eighth, ninth place. Hang on, our time is. Will Howarth is eighth place. Brandon Perrill gets 9th, and 10th is Josh Ingram. Will Howarth there, coming across the line, just beating Brandon Perrill on that last lap. Jack Scott takes 11th, Felix Hearn 12th, Callum Beach 13th, Josh Alder, and Jamie King is the last point scorer. But a dramatic 3 starts to get that race done, and Richard Holmes-Williams, having started part 2 from the pit lane, comes home with a win. Unbelievable scenes.
Third time lucky, the case definitely was for Richard Holmes-Williams. He would have been glad that it was red flags for the second time, as we have enjoyed quite the start, well, middle and end to that race. A fantastic race and a great win by Richard Holmes-Williams. It almost wasn't to be. Bradley Ray certainly giving it a good go up the inside between Kiko Giles before the word of the commentator interrupted. But here we go. This was the original start, and this was the original start. The first red flag caused because of an incident at turn 1. Everyone was cleared by the medics. Big thank you to all of the medics and the marshals for their work over the weekend so far. Into turns 1 and 2 for the second time, and you can understand everyone a bit more tentative. Running wide over the curbing is a very difficult thing to do at Whilton Mill. They're very aggressive curbs, and you really don't want to be pushing it too close to the barriers. Yes, apart from going over the track limits, that won't do you much good. But restart the third and final time, and they all made it through those couple of corners. Not too badly indeed, everyone pushing it as hard as they can. Richard Holmes-Williams did start to be chased though, but in the end took the win ahead of Josh Watley and Gareth Roberts. Bradley Ray finishing in 4th place after challenging for the race lead on at least 2 different occasions. But hey-ho, this is motorsport. That is exactly what happens, I think. As one Milwaukee used to say, anything can happen in Formula 1, and normally it does, but this is Cool Fab Racing, it's much closer. But Chloe Jones in 5th on her 2018 return. Tom Whedon in 6th ahead of Brandon Payne. Will Howarth, it's Brandon Perrill, and then Josh Ingram. That is your top 10. Then it's Jack Scott, Felix Hearn, Callum Beach, Josh Adler, and then Jamie King rounding out the points finishes. As a very concerned Adam Cook comes in there, make sure we're all doing our jobs.
Get some work done, I think. That's why he's running off.
Just making sure we're doing our job properly as well. But after the sheer excitement of the last race, the Extreme 200s, we are going to have more sheer excitement indeed. About the Mini F1 sidecars heading onto circuit now. We're still running to time, so great time keeping by the organisers here. And the Mini F1 sidecars heading out onto the circuit. We'll see Mick Williams once again starting from the front row of the grid. Jack Walters will be on the second row, or second place. Mark Parker and Adrian Ems on row 2, with Simon Ibbotson and John Hosker on row 3. Row 4 will be Jason Greenstreet and Russ Morgan, both of which returning. And Russ Morgan we heard from earlier on in qualifying. If you didn't quite catch that, you can head over to motorsport.radio, as well as the Cool Fab Racing pages, where you'll be able to catch up on all of the 2018 action so far as a audio download. And you're listening to live coverage of round 7 of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championships, and plenty still to come from the official partner series to the BSB and on the road to MotoGP. Mini F1 sidecars getting into position, and shouldn't take too long to do so. But as everyone just gets into position, Mini F1 sidecars not pushing themselves too hard on their green flag lap. They've got 6 racing laps to attend to first, and we're putting up in their correct grid order, it seems, as well. So first two rows being lined up. Kiko, any quick thoughts before we get underway with this race? Or
Mick Lee on pole position. I think that that can't be. I was going to say that's not right. Mick Williams is on pole position.
He is on pole position, correct.
I was going to say Mick Williams is on pole position. Mick Lee is he's not on the grid apparently.
Mick Lee is on the grid. He's starting at the very back of the grid.
Might well be. So Mick Williams then, front row for him. Jack Walters is in second place, and then the 230 of Mark Parker. Let's see if anyone can go with Mick Williams. Race start with the board the right way up this time. Here we go.
And revs start to rise, the tension building. The red light's on in just a moment's time. And will it be the number 26 or the number 2? They get underway now. A good start from Mick Williams. What do we normally say? Got a good start into turns 1 and 2 for the first time. Makes it complete. But Mick Lee, already having jumped 3 sidecars, almost by turn number 3, is going to make a 4th position up towards turn 3. The right-handed hairpin, and very, very wide for the number 26 outfit of Mick Williams. Just keeping the lead though. When I say just keeping the lead, it's got a good few lengths coming into the later corners at the moment. But second place for Jack Walters and third place for Adrian Ems. There's attacks both in the air and on the race as Adrian Ems looking a bit deep. Mark Parker having a look at the inside, couldn't quite make it work though into turns 7 and 8. Subsequently, Mick Williams has got the race lead done and dusted for the time being. Second place for Jack Walters, but third place seems to be where it's at the moment. Adrian Ems holding off both Mark Parker and Mick Lee, having a look maybe at the inside into the final corner. Yes, he makes it through. So the number 44 having started from the very back of the field into 4th place as Mark Parker in 5th. 6th place for John Hosker, 7th for Simon Ibbotson, 8th for Jason Greenstreet, and 9th for Russ Morgan. And Kiko, well, the action really getting interesting out on track as well. Mick Williams has got 3.5 seconds, but Adrian Ems is not looking so secure. Maybe wasn't so secure in 3rd place. 4th place is going.
Can I just clarify? I've been ambushed by a wasp in the commentary box, and I'm petrified of him.
Can we just try to focus on the motor race? And in fact, I think apart from that's going in the replay here, in the replay pool, we also had a very slow Simon Ibbotson then from the number 46. I think Kiko Giles needs to lie down, and I think the number 46 of Simon Ibbotson is actually getting underway now. So a short Couple of corners for him, couldn't quite get the power out, but Mick Lee dropped a position, has now gotten through again, so we're side by side, going side by side through with John Hosker into the final corner, but bodywork flying it seems to be for the number 44. The pins just can't quite keep it down, but with 2 laps complete, 4 laps left to go, are there any more aerial assaults of the Wasp variety still to come?
Hopefully not. I am back here from hibernation. Hopefully that Wasp has replaced me. Out front, Mick Williams, what a surprise that is. Second place, Jack Quarters running very, very well. Adrian Ems in third place, Mark Parker fourth, Mick Lee into fifth now and setting his sights on the 230 of Mark Parker. John Hosker is sixth, Simon Ibbotson seventh, Jason Greenstreet is in 8th place, and our friend Russ Morgan at the back of the pack in 9th. Hopefully he is going to be alright and get to the end. He had a few mechanical gremlins earlier on today, but Mick Williams, nothing to stop him flying at the front at the moment, 58.7.
Second is the number 2 machine, Jack Walters. Third for H&M's. Fourth for Mark Parker. Mick Lee starting to close in again, repeating in a scenario what was a couple of laps ago. The number 44 machine in 5th, once 4th, looks towards the inside line at turn number 3, can't quite make the move though, gets a good run out, gets a fantastic run out, contact, in fact the front left connects with the rear right of that sidecar, so the number 44 bullies its way through, I must stress, didn't push the sidecar out wide, just a bit of contact, just maybe got a much better launch now than he was anticipating, but on one lap it could be a case of 2 positions up the inside into turn 8, bouncing over the curb, but the number 43 just about got ahead of the number 76, although now returning is Mark Parker attacking once again, can't quite make it through. So a very drama-filled lap for the number 44 of Mick Lee, probably isn't used to having to race such aggressively at the moment, but the final lap flag starting to be prepared. We've got 2 laps left to go. 76 versus 44 for third place into turn number 2 once again. Can the position be held very wide? And the rear of the sidecar spinning its wheels out of turn 2 for the bright yellow machine. The number 44 H&M's stops it on the apex but just can't quite get going again, whereas the number 44's got excellent traction looking towards the inside into turn number 6. Can't quite get it done though, although the traction generally on the number 44 seems to be a lot better.
Mick Lee will want to get on the podium here. He doesn't want to give up. He's gone through. Mick Lee has gone through ahead of Adrian Ems, then down it to turn 8. Got a good run out of turn 7. They're through turn 9 now, and Mick Lee is currently on the podium. So great stuff there from Mick Lee. He's got ahead of Adrian Ems. The last lap though has started for Mick Williams as he laps Russ Morgan on the 111 outfit. Mick Williams off and running at the front.
And over the line, just to confirm their place, Mick Lee ahead of Adrian Ems. It was 1.159 over the line with Adrian Ems in 4th, Mark Parker 5th, but it is going to be another win. Half a lap left to go. It should be, touch wood, another win for Mick Williams. Good stuff for the first race of the weekend.
Mick Williams made it look easy again, pole position again, coming to the line to take another win. His championship hopes are just getting better and better. Through the left at turn 9, through the right at turn 9, the long right, then at turn 11 to the line. Mick Williams is going to do it again. He has done it again. Mick Williams, no one can stop him. Jack Quarters should be in 2nd place ahead of Mick Lee. We should await confirmation on that. Across the line comes Russ Morgan. He finishes 9th. Good run out from him. 2nd place Jack Quarters. 3rd place Mick Lee. The gap just 2.7 seconds in the end, so not bad. Mick Lee gave Jack Quarters a good run there, a hard run. We've got a sidecar, we've got a passenger missing from his sidecar. I'm not sure who that is. We will wait. Might be Jason Greenstreet actually in the stealthy looking number 90 machine. So Jason Greenstreet and his passenger have been separated. They've now reunited. That's cute.
And there was damage to the number 127. There was damage to the white sidecar of John Hosker. So there was damage gesticulated, it seemed to be at Mark Parker as they came over the line. Bodywork rubbing, they're running side by side through turn 7 on their way back to the paddock, and none of them, to be honest, don't seem to be too happy. But in all of that, Mick Williams, our race winner, the first race for the Mini F1 sidecars of the weekend. Jack Waters taking second in 13.5 seconds behind. Mick Lee is in third, ahead of Adrian Ems, Mark Parker, John Hoskett, Simon Ibbotson, and then it's Jason Greenstreet in 8th and 9th for Russ Morgan then. But your highlights in the first Mini F1 sidecar race of the weekend. Well, it was a great start for Mick Williams, not quite so for my colleague, but there was great progress for Mick Lee in the end, coming onto the podium from the very back of the field. So a great run nonetheless. Last lap flag being shown, and then to take the checker flag it was Mick Williams. So great result there for Mick Williams. That is the end of the Mini F1 sidecars for that, but we're being told we do have one extra replay.
I
Kiko
can't
Giles
possibly think what that is. I heard there was an actual ban on drones in the area, so how come wasps are still allowed to fly?
Because they're not drones.
But they're still flying in airspace, which to me is not fair. Oh, here we go.
So just confirmation then, whilst you can see me looking out the window, trying very hard to not be distracted by my colleague who's being attacked by the wasp. You can see the wasp, and then you can see Kiko walking out of the... Look, just the way... I must admit, mate, you are what, 6 foot... You're 6'2".
Yeah, but they can hurt.
Anyway, we're going to move on, I think. We're going to move on to the Mini GP70s,
Can't believe
which will
I've
be
just
out
been
next.
humiliated. But I can't wait till that goes in the Daily Mail. The Guardian, wasp killer on the loose, no doubt.
I don't think that would quite make print, I'm afraid.
Oh, it
but
will if it's harming the Wasp Conservation Society.
What will make print will be the action coming up next, which will be the Mini GP70s out in just a few moments' time. You're listening to live coverage of round 7 of the 2018 Cool FAB-Racing British Mini Bike Championships. The Mini GP70s are now onto their warm-up lap. Casey O'Gorman will start from pole position. We're not mentioning him in what seems like an eternity, although really it's only been about an hour or so. But as they make their way now through onto the warm-up lap, Casey O'Gorman and Evan Belford will be your first row of the grid. Rossi Banham and Bailey Stewart Campbell on row 2. Row 3 will be Finn Smart and Owen Mellor, with Ollie Walker, Kyle Payne, Sean Abel and James Rose rounding out the top 10. Jack Kirsch is in 11th, ahead of Saffron Watley, Taylor Lawrence and Corey Stainer, Holly Harris, and then Elliot Crosby rounding out the 16-strong grid. They make their way towards the grid, and well, the Mini GP70s have been some of the closest racing we've had all season, and one of the more popular classes in the Cool Fab Championships. Any thoughts before we get underway with this one, Kiko?
Casey O'Gorman looked good in qualifying, had pole position by way over 0.6 of a second. Casey O'Gorman though looking in control of this one, the number 7 lining up there on the grid. Bailey Stewart Campbell there in the 4th place. We just await Evan Belford. He strolls through the middle of the pack now, takes up his 2nd place on the grid. So Casey O'Gorman and Evan Belford in this championship, very, very close in the championship, we should remind you that. And in the championship itself, we do have a gap of 84 points, so it can't be won in this race for Casey O'Gorman, but a win wouldn't go amiss. Evan Belford took 70 points from 75 last time out. That was at GYG.
And we've got a problem on the 2nd row of the grid. That is Bailey Stewart Campbell's bike, which is struggling to restart. One of the marshals has gone over to help and get it underway. So the race start is about to get underway. The board held and the lights about to come on. The riders build up the revs. This is going to be a big race for all of them. The red lights not quite on yet. It's a long hold. The red lights are on. Revs are at peak and they are underway, and a great start from Evan Belford. into turn 1 for the first time, side by side with Casey O'Gorman. Nearly took the lead. Casey O'Gorman taking it instead, but as they're about to go side by side into turns 2 and 3 for the first time out of 12, and it is Casey O'Gorman who has taken the lead and stormed away already. But it is Rossi Banham in third place at the moment with a great start. Finn Smart following him through. So 13 and 14 in third and fourth. Bailey Stewart Campbell struggled a bit there. Maybe it was that the fact that the bike couldn't quite get away is playing on his mind, but diving up the inside into turn 8. Bailey Stewart Campbell returns to fourth place, but Casey O'Gorman has already stormed off with the race lead. Evan Belford in second, third place for Rossi Banham, and fourth place, the one that's being quite closely fought at the moment, Bailey Stewart Campbell. Just got Finn Smart behind. And then slightly further down the order is side by side, 25 and 48 over the line. They go for the first time. Well, 25 and 48. Kyle Payne getting well and truly involved with Ollie Walker as well.
Good pace being shown by Rossi Banham. I've got to say, I haven't seen him stick at the pace to the leading two in this class all year. The Casey O'Gorman show continues. Evan Belford in second place. Third place, Rossi Banham. Then it's a short gap back to Bailey Stewart Campbell. Finn Smart still riding magnificently well in fifth place. Sixth place is Owen Mellor. Seventh, Sean Abel, James Rose. Eighth, ninth place is Carl Payne, and Ollie Walker is in 10th place.
So a good start by all. 2 laps into this race. Looks to be a slight problem. It could be for one of our riders after running around the back a little slower than you would anticipate, but streaming over the line close between 1:30 and 8, and that is Owen Mellor getting very battly at the moment. They're almost side by side going towards turns number 2. It is side by side, late move up the inside, and Dylan Mellor could not quite respond to that. Owen Mellor, rather, my apologies, and nonetheless, as that's how audacious the move was, he's so far back, he just changed name and just completely lost the position. It is keeping track though, so through turns 7 and 8, once again, it's time to recover. Plenty of time in this race left to go.
Casey O'Gorman looking dominant at the front though. Evan Belford, second place for now. Third is Rossi Banham. Bailey Stewart Campbell there in fourth, has pulled out a gap over Finn Smart, but across the line Bailey Stewart Campbell flies through turn 1 and 2. He's a man on a mission. The Irishman looking so good out front. Second place is Evan Belford. Rossi Banham third. A bit more of a battle for fourth though. Finn Smart has not allowed Bailey Stewart Campbell to break free just yet.
Keeping tabs in that battle for 4th and 5th, James Rose, the person who overtook Owen Mellor on the last lap, but then Sean Abel getting well and truly stuck in with Ollie Walker and Kyle Payne. They make their way into turn 6. Very tight right-handed hairpin. It's so slow really to pull out of it, but once you get going they really do pick up some good speed into 7 and 8. They have to stay line astern. There's no way they can really make a move, and that's what must be frustrating for a young rider's mind. They just want to overtake, and you really just have to sit back, build momentum, wait for it to come through. But 2.5 seconds is the gap now. O'Gorman in the lead. Evan Belford in second place, 2.5 behind. 3.2 behind is Rossi Banham. Bailey Stewart Campbell and Finn Smart still close enough, but not quite challenging each other at this stage of the race. It's where the battles maybe are fought more in lap times than they are in close side-to-side action, but that's still going to play a key part as they head towards the end of this race.
Casey O'Gorman 2.5 seconds to the good now ahead of Evan Belford. Evan Belford just pulling out a slight gap over Rossi Banham, but not much. Likewise, Bailey Stewart Campbell over Finn Smart. Owen Mellor in 6th ahead of Ollie Walker. That is the 6th and 7th place battles. Ollie Walker moving into the Mini GP 70s for this round. That's great to see some progression in the season there. Jack Kirsch is giving Corey Stainer a bit of a headache as well. That is the battle for 10th place. In fact, Jack Kirsch has got ahead of Corey Stainer for 10th place. So Jack Kirsch breaking in to the top 10 as everyone just loops through the first few corners.
Still side by side, great action. Jack Kirsch, Corey Stainer and Saffron Watley getting close for that 10th place battle. They're through turn 2 on the long run towards turn 3, and a fantastic run from Corey Stainer leaves it as late as he dares into turn 3, but couldn't quite get it stopped close enough to make the position. Now falling into the clutches of Saffron Watley, who had some great rides a couple of weekends ago at Red Lodge. We'll be looking to emulate those fantastic positions. Casey O'Gorman, though, you never need to compliment him. I suppose he just sort of knows that he's been doing really well. Evan Belford and Rossi Banham staying consistent in second and third. Bailey Stewart-Campbell has really started to pull away from Finn Smart now. The gap opening up to a couple of seconds. But Owen Mellor has still got Ollie Walker in 6th and 7th, battling very closely. Dropping back a little bit is James Rose. Could be a transponder issue as they make their way into turn 3. And Owen Mellor keeping 6th place, but he's just holding on to it. It's not a case that he's feeling comfortable in it. It's not a case that he's so much quicker around the corner. Right? It looks to be, from our commentary position, you may be able to see on our visual radio cameras as well, that it's really starting to close in. But the battle for the lead, Casey O'Gorman, it's not a battle, he's just racing himself.
It's only man who can beat Casey O'Gorman, seems to be Casey O'Gorman himself. And with 5 laps to go, who'd bet against another win for this kid in the Mini GP70s? He's been nothing short of phenomenal. Evan Belford in 2nd there, Rossi Banham 3rd. Big gaps all the way down the field, apart from Owen Mellor and Ollie Walker. Owen Mellor and Ollie Walker, yes it is the battle for 6th place. 8th place just behind him is Kyle Payne. Sean Abel is 9th, and in 10th place the battle rages on as well with Jack Kirsch and Corey Stainer. Saffron Watley's just behind them. Holly Harris is just about keeping Taylor Lawrence at bay, and James Rose will be the next one across the line too. But Casey O'Gorman at the moment still your race leader with 4 laps to go. He's at turns 2.
50.4, the fastest lap for the number 7 rider. Last lap was a 51.7, so not pushing too hard, but that's a good pace indeed.
Evan Belford has just closed the gap down to Casey O'Gorman by half a second. So Evan Belford was half a second quicker than Casey O'Gorman last time around. That's an interesting thing. With 4 laps to go, he might just run out of time. Casey O'Gorman might just be might just be timing this on to perfection, not wanting to push on too much. We'll check the gap when it comes across the line next. But Evan Belford definitely got the bit between his teeth. His body language on the bike suggests he really means business and that he's not given up the ghost just yet.
But Casey O'Gorman has done this a few times over the course of the season so far, where he doesn't push in the middle to late portions of the race. He just sort of lets the race fall into his hands. It doesn't matter whether it's closer. On that last lap, Casey O'Gorman in fact was quicker than Evan Belford. The gap now up to 3.2 seconds. But he doesn't really need to focus too hard on pushing for the absolute best performance. He's got the race lead as such, and it just sort of happens and he's got that gap. Bailey Stewart-Campbell still 3.5 seconds now ahead of Finn Smart, with Owen Mellor and Ollie Walker covered by just 0.2 of a second over the line the last time. They make their way into turn 3 again. Running much deeper is Owen Mellor, having to transition the bike, turn it a lot harder. Ollie Walker shifting back and enjoying this because they've got also a closing in Kyle Payne.
Ollie Walker is through on the inside of Owen Mellor. Very nice move. That was at turn 7. Got the drive from turn 6 through into 7, and that is a move for Ollie Walker. Now that's released him. So Ollie Walker stepping up to the class this weekend, doing himself a great deal of good. I've got to say, he's not doing himself bad at all. Owen Mellor demoted to 7th and now has Kyle Payne for company, but Ollie Walker on the silver machine in 6th place, and at the moment still looking good for that 6th place too.
Well, it could well change. They're making their way up towards turn 3, closing in under the brakes, and it's been a position that Owen Mellor hasn't really had to fight over the last few laps. Closing in up towards turn 6, not quite close enough to have a last minute break up the inside. We'll keep an eye on that one though, but the last lap flag is being shown to Casey O'Gorman over the line, 4.1 seconds ahead of Evan Belford in 2nd, and 3rd place for Rossi Banham. That's your order. It's going to be close, but not quite as close as the battle for 6th and 7th. Ollie Walker, Owen Mellor, they're still very close as they head up towards the line for the penultimate time. They see that battle, 48, 130 and 25. That is your battle for 6th place, but Casey O'Gorman well on course for yet another victory.
He is indeed. It's been another dominant performance from Casey O'Gorman right from the get-go. He's just got to get himself through some traffic. It doesn't matter really if he does or doesn't. He's got this race wrapped up. Taylor Lawrence, he lifts up, gets through, and it is going to be another win. Casey O'Gorman, can anybody stop him? Incredible stuff. So Casey O'Gorman takes the checkered flag. Evan Belford will be second. Rossi Banham should be third. Yes, he is across the line. Brilliant podium for Rossi Banham. It's been coming. Fourth place will be Bailey Stewart Campbell ahead of Finn Smart. And then this battle for sixth. Ollie Walker has still got it at the moment. Owen Mellor is in seventh place as they come to the line, and it stays like that. So Ollie Walker debut in the class is 6th, 7th for Owen Mellor, 8th for Kyle Payne. Sean Abel should be 9th. Jack Kirsch, we've got the battle for 10th place. Sean Abel is going to be in 9th. Jack Kirsch has got 10th. Corey Stainer's going to line him up. He's going to be a run to the line. Coming through to the line. 9th, Sean Abel. 10th is Jack Kirsch. Corey Stainer, 11th, and furious with that. And Saffron Watley takes 12th. Holly Harris, 13th. Taylor Lawrence in 14th, and 15th place will be James Rose. But what a race, what a performance from Casey O'Gorman. He has done it again.
Another victory in the Mini GP 70s. Who'd have thought it, really? The number 7, Casey O'Gorman, winning by 3.199 seconds ahead of Evan Belford. This, though, the restart, the race start. They go into turns 1 and 2. They were side by side almost. Great tractive effort from Evan Belford to get ahead on the first phase, but into turn 2, Casey O'Gorman had the line. That's all he needed, and continued to race so fantastically. But it was close throughout that race between the likes of Ollie Walker, Owen Mellor. They've been fighting so closely for many a lap, couldn't quite make it through. Also for Jack Kirsch, Corey Stainer and Saffron Watley, they've been well and truly feisty for the last few races and the last few laps. But nonetheless, that is it for the Mini GP 70s for today. They will be back out for 2 more races tomorrow. We've got plenty of action still. We've got 3 races left to go, including the AC40 Pros, which will be out next, Kiko Giles. There's lots of interesting developments in that. We've got a returning Johnny Garness, for example. You know, Nathan Foster doing so well, qualifying. I mean, it could really be a game changer in this championship.
Johnny Garness, he's coming back not fit and healthy. That's the key one there. He has got that damaged collarbone. Talking to his mum yesterday, he's been sweet. He's been on holiday for the last few days. He's been in Turkey a couple of weeks ago, and he's been swimming around. He says it's been fine, but there's being fit and then there's being bike fit. So will Johnny Garness be able to keep up with the pace of Mason Foster? 8 tenths off in qualifying. Mason Foster was on pole.
Meanwhile, Mason Foster then confirmed on pole position ahead of Johnny Garness. Troy Jeffrey then is in 3rd place, ahead of Sullivan Mounsey in 4th, with Ronnie Harris, Taylor Stewart Campbell, Luca Hopkins, Clayton Edmonds, Ethan Sparks and Orlando Phillips, the top 10. Harrison McKay ahead of Keaton Payne, Jamie Woodcock, Jada Howell, Greg Marshall and Jacob Stevenson for a 16-strong grid. The riders making their way onto the grid for the final time ahead of their 9-lap race. And you're listening to live coverage of round 7 of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championships on the Cool Fab Racing website, on motorsport.radio and on social media. Thank you very much for all of your comments and for sharing it around. Please do keep sharing the love. Let the whole world know how fantastic the Cool Fab Racing is. Get through some of your comments later on as well. But as the race is about to get underway, who will it be off the line? Can Mason Foster do it? Will Johnny Garness take the lead, take the win to change the championship around as well? This is where the points really do mean everything. And the riders ready and waiting to get underway. Marshall's just doing a last-minute check to make sure everyone is in the correct slot. They look towards the red lights. The nerves build, the revs rise. The clutches are at biting point, the red lights are on, we get underway now. It's a good start from the number 57 of Johnny Garnes, takes the lead, and in fact into second place goes Troy Jeffrey, so Mason Foster is down to third place, albeit briefly. Does get some better traction out of turn number 2 on Troy Jeffrey, but all of this means Johnny Garnes leads from Mason Foster. Can he hold this? Sullivan Mounsey down to 4th place, Troy Jeffrey in 3rd as they head into turn 6 for the first time out of 9. Very feisty for the final portion of the podium between Mounsey and Jeffrey, but Jeffrey at the moment only just holding on.
Johnny Garnes leading. I don't think many of us expected to see that, but how long is he going to hold on for? Mason Foster's already drawn alongside. Mason Foster on the short run to turn 9 is making a move, and Mason Foster goes through. Johnny Garnes then, his lead was short-lived for now. Mason Foster is now leading. A nice move on the inside after the slipstream down into turn 9, the left-hander, and held the position. So at the moment it's Mason Foster leading ahead of Johnny Garnes. How hard is Johnny Garnes going to push with that collarbone?
Well, only time can tell really. Johnny Garnes.
Mounsey on the inside. Sorry Dan to cut across you there. Sullivan Mounsey has gone on the inside of, that was Troy Jeffrey, and now Ronnie Harris wants to have a little piece of the action as well. So Sullivan Mounsey into 3rd there.
So Sullivan Mounsey into 3rd place, Troy Jeffrey fighting in 4th, but is very close through turns 7 and 8. The first of 2 left-handers is left, and then he sort of turn right, heading onto the back straight, where Troy Jeffrey getting a good run into the slipstream. Can't make a move into the chicane, but I suppose that's not the priority at the moment. It's about closing in, getting into the right place at the right time as they make their way now through the final corner, in fact. He sat right behind. They've got 3 bikes in the battle for 3rd place. Sullivan Mounsey into 3rd, 4th for Troy Jeffrey, and 5th for Ronnie Harris, who's in a real good seat here at the moment, using the slipstream of 2 bikes to really accelerate himself. But Sullivan Mounsey retains 3rd, albeit just about retaining 3rd. Couple of lengths at absolute most. Troy Jeffrey using a much wider line over the curbing to attack for the final place on the podium. But Mason Foster, fastest lap, 55.7 compared to a 56.1 for Johnny Garnes. The gap 0.475, which is much larger than we would expect maybe a fully fit Johnny Garnes to have. But considering how close they've been over the season, that is maybe a bit of a surprise. Also close again between Mounsey and Jeffrey. They were heading into the chicane, looking one way and then the other, but Jeffrey couldn't quite work it around on the outside line and stays opting to use a slipstream, which probably is going to be the better option.
Mason Foster leading. Last time around, the fastest lap of the race, pulled out his lead to 1.2 seconds there. Big battle actually going on downfield for 4th place, sorry. Troy Jeffrey with his hands full of Ronnie Harris there. Sullivan Mounsey just ahead of them. Sullivan Mounsey picked up there. Troy Jeffrey tries to go through on him. Sullivan Mounsey's fighting back. They go to turn 7 neck and neck, and Sullivan Mounsey on the inside of Troy Jeffrey pushes him out wide to the grass, and that allows through comes Ronnie Harris. He's now pushed wide. They are exchanging positions there. Troy Jeffrey was not about to let Ronnie Harris have that, so Ronnie Harris there thought he was in for a shout and then got pushed out. Sullivan Mounsey, the Saga starter that time round, in 3rd place, so he held on to it very, very well and's got a bit of a gap now, up to 0.6 of a second. The gap is up to 1.6 at the front between Mason Foster and Johnny Garnes.
Well, Mason Foster still with the fastest lap. Didn't do it on the last lap, did it a couple of laps ago, 55.663. We've completed 4 laps of this race. We've got 5 laps left to go, and as they make their way around halfway around the circuit, we are in half distance. So Mason Foster still leads from Johnny Garnes. Sullivan Mounsey heading the battle with Troy Jeffrey and Ronnie Harris fighting tooth and nail for 4th place. They've just let Sullivan Mounsey escape a little bit. Then we got a fantastic battle. Taylor Stewart Campbell in 6th, but Clayton Edmonds heading up a great run, including Ethan Sparks, Luca Hopkins and Orlando Phillips. There in your top 10. Harrison McKay is ahead of Jamie Woodcock with Keaton Payne, Greg Marshall and Jada Howell, the top 15. Jacob Stevenson and Caden Watson, the top 17. But as this battle really for 7th and onwards over the line now. Clayton Edmonds is 2 tenths ahead of Ethan Sparks, who's 4 tenths ahead of Luca Hopkins, but it's all closed up as they make their way through turns 2 and 3. It's 3 bikes for this position. They're almost side by side, and Clayton Edmonds just holding them off. He's been doing it for quite a while in this race so far. I suppose a few extra laps just won't hurt.
Mason Foster leading by 2.6 now, so that gap has been very much extended, and I think that is going to be the leading 2 positions done and dusted. The only one that we don't really know about is that 3rd place. Sullivan Mounsey at the moment has it, but we don't know if he's going to hold on to it. 1st across the line, 2nd across the line, waiting for Sullivan Mounsey and Troy Jeffrey across the line. Then there's a short gap back to Ronnie Harris. Ronnie Harris having a fantastic ride there, another top 5 result for him. But as they come up the straight now, Sullivan Mounsey up into the very quirky turn 3. There's a few different lines you can take through there. It's a bit like Campbell, Cobb and Seagrave at Thruxton. You can take a multitude of lines and they don't really hold anyone up. It's just a different way to take the racing line. At the moment it is Sullivan Mounsey leading ahead of Troy Jeffrey, Ronnie Harris 5th there. That's the battle for 3rd I'm on about. 1st and 2nd Mason Foster and Johnny Garnis.
Well, it is certainly heading towards the end of this race. Mason Foster has, put simply, run off with it. It was 3.1 seconds over the last lap, the gap between Mason Foster and Johnny Garnes. They head over the line now. The gap's increased to 3.9 seconds, a 56.7 for Johnny Garnes. He's still lapping up marginally quicker than Mounsey and Jeffrey in 3rd and 4th. Troy Jeffrey, the number 21 rider, closing in again on Sullivan Mounsey. It's these quick runs from the final corner up towards turn 3, where Troy really can get the pace, really has got the pace. It's just the twisty stuff in the middle of the circuit which seems to throw him a bit wide, but he's not doing it on this lap. Up the inside he goes into 3rd place with a late move on the rider's right hand side, the inside line into turn 6, consolidates it through turn 7, but Sullivan Mounsey just gets a fantastic run on the apex of turn 7, just simply rides past
Brilliant
it.
move,
almost as
Sullivan
if he was
Mounsey.
on wets compared to slicks.
Brilliant move from Sullivan Mounsey, got the job done that time. No messing about from Mounsey there at all. But leading this race, Mason Foster has crossed the line. Johnny Garnis now has crossed the line. The gap 4.7 seconds. It's looked that way for most of this weekend, I've got to say. Mason Foster's always going to have the edge over an injured Johnny Garnis, but 1st and 2nd just shows how much more class they've got and so much more dominance they've got in this championship at the moment. There's not long left of this race, half a lap if that, through turn 7 for Mason Foster. He's got to get through some traffic. Sullivan Mounsey defending his line there at turn 6. That is the battle for 7 at turn 6 and 7 for 3rd place. Johnny Garnis is on his way to a safe 2nd place. Mason Foster has only got 1 corner to go, and then he's got this win which will put him a little bit clearer in this championship. Mason Foster takes it, takes the win. Johnny Garnis is 2nd. Who's it going to be for 3rd? We are waiting.
Hang on, and Sullivan Mounsey's dropped off. Sullivan Mounsey's slowed down.
Sullivan Mounsey's got an issue. It's going to be Troy Jeffrey. Troy Jeffrey takes 3rd. Ronnie Harris is 4th. Sullivan Mounsey, I don't know what's happened. Has he run out of fuel or something? He's going mental. He's going mental. He's fist slamming at the tank there. We have got Sullivan Mounsey dropping down the order. 5th place, Taylor Stewart Campbell. Ethan Sparks is 6th. 7th, Clayton Edmonds. Luca Hopkins is 8th. Orlando Phillips 9th. Harrison McKay completes the top 10. But on the infield, running to the line, Sullivan Mounsey. Is he going to get there? Yes, he does. And that is... well, he is going to be so fed up with that. But Sullivan Mounsey, 11th place, robbed of a certain podium. He is going to be bitterly disappointed. You can see it on his face there. We're watching opposite the commentary box position, just walking disconsolately off to the circuit. Dad Simon, big hug. Never mind, he says. Mason Foster, though, eventually your race winner.
Well, it certainly wasn't eventually in Mason's eyes. 4.7 seconds ahead of Johnny Garnes for the battle for first and second. Third place was Troy Jeffrey then, ahead of Ronnie Harris after that unfortunate end to the race for Sullivan Mounsley. A big hug then from Dad Simon. The way they just threw their arms at each other at their unhappiness sort of indicates, you know, father and son, they say, those kinds of moments. That's a shame that particular race ended in that way, but they've got 2 more races tomorrow to enjoy, and we will have more coverage of that very shortly indeed. So the Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team riders are due to be out next, but this was your race start in the AC40 Pros into turns 1 and 2 for the first time. And while it was a good start from Johnny Garnes, you see leading then, but this was the moment when the lead changed. You're more or less over the line. Mason Foster took the lead, was not going to lose it, but then the scrap for third place was pretty much where it was at, and that was a fantastic run indeed from Sullivan Mounsley, who cruelly lost it on the final lap at the final few corners. And in the end, that was what settled that battle for Troy Jeffrey. So an unfortunate shame then for them, but that was a win for Mason Foster, putting him that little bit closer in the championship. But as the Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team riders head out onto circuit, you're listening to live coverage of round 7 of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championships. And we will head now to the Pit Bike 140 and Moto Teams, where Charlie Nesbitt and Max Cook are due to start on the front row of the grid. Will Howarth and Harvey Claridge, row 2. Jamie King and Brad Ray, row 3, ahead of Rhys Garland, Elliot Dufton, Elliot Lodge and Jason Pugh. And then you have got Elliot Lodge Ashley in 9th and 11th place, so a slight mistake on the entry, but Darren Anderson then due to line up next, with Callum Wybrow and Simon Clowes following. Ian Jackson, Felix Hearn, Blake Ansell and Rossi Banham running out the top 9 rows. Sam Clowes and Sean Whittaker, row 10. Fraser Kinnaird, Neil Kinnaird, row 11. Then it's Kevin Gritton, Henry Meduse, Ben O'Keefe, Gary Meduse, then it's Alistair Kinnaird, David Wilson, Adam Sweeney, Mark Bradley, Gary O'Keefe, then it's Scott Dootson, Harrison O'Keefe, Michael Elms and Trevor Jones. So there's quite a lot of Kinnairds, quite a lot of O'Keefes on the grid. Try and keep up with all of them. And of course it is such a large grid that some of them are still organising themselves to be into the correct positions. Bradley Ray on a bright blue Suzuki liveried bike, of course, as you would expect. Horn sounding, so obviously indicating to race control that he wants to get away quite quickly. That'll probably become quite frustrating for the riders quite quickly, one might expect, but
someone's bought the air horns, we see.
That's not a good idea, but everyone's still waiting to get into position. It's such a large grid that it is going to take a little bit extra time, but there's at least one rider waiting to get onto the grid and is being told not allowed to go onto the grid because they missed it. But the rest of those who are starting from the front rows, including Charlie Nesbitt, who's trying to restart the engine. You're listening to live coverage of the 7th round of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championships, live on the Cool Fab Racing websites, on motorsport.radio and on social media. The revs are slowly going to build up. Bradley Ray still tooting the horn, so it's probably going to give us a horn countdown, I think, in a moment, but Marshall's just having a word with race control. Might have something to do with the lines of, "Oh, yeah, mate, do you mind? Just stop doing that." But looking towards the start line, then we get underway. Still with the horn, Bradley Ray he's insatiable. The red lights are on now. We're underway, and a good start for Charlie Nesbitt. Should just about get himself into the race lead for the first time out of, well, this is going to be a 12-lap race, so into the lead goes Charlie Nesbitt, being followed quite closely, and it's side by side for the race lead. Can't quite see who it is. Into turn 3 for the first time. Bradley Ray lost out a couple of positions. Probably should have had his sort of feelings on the clutch rather than the horn, but that's dropped him down into further few positions. We'll make it up in no time, I doubt, but 2 riders going over the grass, both trying to fight for the race lead. It's definitely Charlie Nesbitt in there, but Matt Cook also getting well and truly involved. Those 2 race all over the world with each other, so it's undoubtedly Whilton Mill a bit closer to home than they might expect, but they are 1 and 2. Got one rider who's pulled off at turn 6. The bike looks like it's not running, so they're just trying to restart the bike. Yellow flags there for the time being. They're all heading over the line now, and that is in a battle with Max Cook and Charlie Nesbitt for the race lead. They're side by side once again, though, so close as they head into turns 2, and again they're side by side. There's almost no stopping them overtaking. It's every single corner at the moment, Kiko.
Max Cook at the moment giving chase to Spud Nesbitt. Nesbitt out in the lead of this. Will we see Max Cook take the lead back? He's building through turn 7 now, through the left-hander, down into another left-hander, harder braking area at turn 8, flick it right, get the drive out of turn 9. They are side by side. Max Cook's going a long way around, doesn't quite make it, throws Nesbitt in early and out wide. Max Cook's going to try and get the drive to the long right-hander that ends this lap. They are still neck and neck, absolutely head to toe, come across the line, and it is still Nesbitt ahead of Max Cook in this frantic PB140 / Moto Team race, and at the moment, unbelievably, those two are still at it. Max Cook's got it. Max Cook has got the lead now, back from Nesbitt. Nesbitt's giving chase. They are neck and neck. Nesbitt on the inside, that's at turn 6. Tight left-hander, tight right-hander, sorry, they're on the grass. Now flicking left. Nesbitt and Cook are absolutely hammer and tongs here. This is incredible scenes at turn 8 now.
And it's really quite difficult stuff for them to be pushing themselves so aggressively in the early stages. Max Cook looks left, then he goes right, and then he goes left again into turns 9 and 10. Couldn't quite make the position work on that go, but they're all over the grass, pulling wheelies, trying to rejoin the circuit. I think they're just taking the old Mickey a bit here, having so much fun with each other, but that's your battle for the race lead into turns 1 and 2. Once again, they're not side by side. That's the only corner they're not side by side at. Bradley Ray over the line, still hooting the old horn, so trying to distract his way through the order at the moment, made up a few extra positions, but as they make their way at the moment, still Charlie Nesbitt just in the lead from Max Cook. Green flags all around the circuit, and the rest of the order is still trifling through pretty sensationally indeed as well.
Max Cook still giving chase to Spud Nesbitt at the moment. They flick right down the straight, they are neck and neck. Max Cook goes the long way, can't quite make it work this time. Spud Nesbitt's got it as they turn right now. Max Cook is side by side with him. They're almost touching as they come through that final corner to the line then. Nesbitt still leads. Max Cook not able to push his way through really, and Will Howarth, whilst all this battling is going on, isn't a million miles behind either.
Really,
so we've got a great race here. It is definitely Bradley Ray's horn on his Suzuki, because it's a road bike. We forget that it's a road bike, so it's built with one. So Bradley Ray obviously using the horn to his advantage. He's obviously not moving out of his way quick enough though. Out front though, Spud Nesbitt and Max Cook. That's still your lead in 2.
And it is Harvey Claridge sensationally in 3rd place. Great run from Harvey at the moment. We've got obviously Will Howarth in 3rd, 4th place then for Harvey Claridge. Bradley Way making his way through. Got a couple of Moto Team bikes to make his way through. And on board the bright blue number 28, overtaken by a pit bike. Not surprisingly, the much better tractive effort, the pit bikes making their way through.
That was Elliot Dufton going through on Bradley Ray, so Elliot Dufton making up a position on the track but not in class, because Bradley Ray is not in the pit bike class at the moment. But either way, as they come down now towards the right-hander at turn 6, still Charlie Nesbitt ahead of Max Cook, both out wide doing the lawn though in there, going out onto the grass, somehow able to keep it all upright. As retiring, that's the number 3. I think that may well be
one of the Kinnairds.
Yeah, I think that's Fraser Kinnaird who's just retiring out. Yes, started 21st, so Fraser Kinnaird has had enough. He retires out of this race. Still at the front, it is Charlie Nesbitt who's got ahead of Max Cook. Will Howarth is 3rd as they come across the line. They are still near enough side by side. Absolutely head to tail here. This is incredible racing all the way down this field, and a lot of traffic now to encounter.
Well, they're halfway through this race already, would you believe? 6 laps in, 6 to go. Those are your 2 race leaders, Charlie Nesbitt and Max Cook. Will Howarth in 3rd place for Harvey Claridge. Jamie King in 5th, ahead of Reece Garland. Elliot Dufton, Jason Pugh, Brad Ray and Darren Anderson. That's your top 10. Callum Wybrow is ahead of Simon Clowes, Blake Ansell, Sam Clowes and Felix Hearn, with Sean Whittaker, Neil Kinnaird, Kevin Britton, Henry Miduse, Fraser Kinnaird, and then Alistair Kinnaird, now making progress, Ben O'Keefe and David Wilson running in the top order at the moment.
Sam Clowes is downfield, Simon Clowes downfield, so not a good day at the office. Paula Clowes 11th and 13th, Simon ahead of Sam, so that is the order at the moment. But Charlie Nesbitt still leading this race. They're through the traffic. Max Cook in 2nd place, still challenging for the lead of this race. Those two are very, very close together. They're down into turn 6. No move this time. They'll both run out wide, nearly onto the grass, if not onto the grass, and then build through the next bit. Left-hander. It's a more obtuse angled corner, then into an acute angled corner, both left-handers, then a right-hander that flicks you onto the straight. It really opens up. It's a bit fast. Down into turn 10 to the left and right, and then all the way through, then down the straight they will come. It is action-packed here, and Max Cook is probably closer than he's been for a few laps now, riding almost pillion with Charlie Nesbitt. It is very, very close indeed. Heading up towards turn 3, Max Cook dives to the inside, can't make it work though. Battles downfield.
Well, there's plenty of battles still going on. It's just so hard to keep track of them because how great the racing is up and down the field, side by side for many riders, a lot of them now working their way through others in this race, so it can become a little more tricky. Let's mention, whilst we can, Bradley Ray got Jason Pugh ahead, not heard the horn for a while, so I think Brad's actually coming and concentrating at the moment, but Jason Pugh in 8th place, just holding on to the position.
Harvey Claridge has just gone into 3rd place ahead of Jamie King, so at the moment Will Howarth in that 3rd place, 3rd place in class for Harvey Claridge in the pit bike 140s, but out front in the race itself it is Charlie Nesbitt leading Max Cook, and a little bit of a gap has opened up with 3 laps to go now, so just wait for Max Cook to try and close that back down. He almost has, in fact he has, because Charlie Nesbitt's had a little bit of a moment through into turn 6. Max Cook revitalised now, looking for that win in the pit bike 140s, and this is proper hardcore racing. There is nothing left on the table as they come through down the back straight.
Up towards the final couple of chicanes they go almost, and Max Cook overtake again. Charlie Nesbitt just about holding on. This is how it's been the entire race. It's going to be for the rest of the race as well. 2 laps left to go as they make their way over the line. But Charlie Nesbitt still leads. 2nd place, Max Cook. Will Howarth in 3rd, 4th for Jamie King. And they're all sort of really starting to bunch up together now as well. It's Harvey Claridge enjoying a good run as well. Was 27 hundredths over the line the last time was the gap between Claridge and King. Now Harvey is ahead by half a second. So Harvey Claridge up to 4th place and 3rd in class, of course. Will Howarth enjoying a great run in 3rd place again.
Elliot Dufton has gone ahead of Reece Garland. That is for 5th place, so across the line Elliot Dufton moves into the top 5. It's neck and neck though at the front. Charlie Nesbitt with a lap to go now is leading this, but only just from Max Cook so far. Your leaders are coming through the double apex right-handers that end this lap. They are on to their last lap, and traffic galore for those two. They were already encountering it at turn 1. Oh, it's got in the way, and Max Cook has had to go wide and almost put in the barriers. Max Cook has been robbed of a chance to win this race. There was some moto team traffic in the way, couldn't get past, and this time Charlie Nesbitt, has he now got this race, unless of course there is more traffic, which there is, but I'm not sure whether they'll catch it in time. Charlie Nesbitt will hope that he doesn't have to. It doesn't look like they will, but Max Cook at the moment just hasn't got a response for Charlie Nesbitt. We've been robbed. of a fantastic finish. Oh, Charlie Nesbitt's gone down. I can hardly believe it. Charlie Nesbitt has got to launch at the keel here. Max Cook will hardly be able to believe it. Massive crash for Nesbitt down at turn 9. Max Cook can't believe his luck. Checkered flag, and that is incredible. Max Cook has taken a win here in the most extraordinary of circumstances. Massive crash. I hope Nesbitt's okay. Charlie Nesbitt was leading that race right up until the end, and there has been a crash for Nesbitt. He's lying down at the side of the track. He's obviously dazed as everyone else comes through. Harvey Claridge is in second place in the class. Third for Jamie King in pit bike 140. Will Howard has taken the flag as well. Then it should be Elliot Dufton ahead of Reese Gard and Bradley Ray into 7th place. And what a finish. What an incredible finish. You just can't write the script for this today. It's incredible.
Well, up now walking is Charlie Nesbitt, so about to pick the bike up and is about to get a lift back from, I think Max Cook's actually gone to pick him up. So great sportsmanship then from Max and Charlie. Nonetheless, though, that was a great win for Max Cook ahead of Will Harris, but it was defined by that fantastic scrap between Charlie Nesbitt and Max Cook. We're about to come back into the paddock now. Harvey Claridge taking 3rd in the end. Jamie King in 4th. 5th for Elliot Dufton. Reese Garland and Bradley Ray in 6th and 7th. The Horn hasn't made an appearance for a while, but Bradley Ray really quite enjoying that one. Hoosing his way all the way up into 7th place. Jason Pugh in 8th ahead of Callum Wybrow and Blake Ansell. Darren Anderson, Sam Clowes, Felix Hearn, Simon Clowes and Sean Whittaker, the top 15. Then it's Neil Kinnaird, Harry Majus, Kevin Grisson, Charlie Nesbitt then officially running in 19th place. But what a great race that was between Charlie and Max Cook. Ben O'Keefe, Alistair Kinnaird, David Wilson and Fraser Kinnaird. If you are viewing on our social media live streams, please do take note that Max Cook did actually win the race. Unfortunately, we think it's got a transponder issue, which is why it didn't quite record it on the screen, but definitely was the case. Over the line for the first time, so many entries. It was 34 entered, a few running over the curves at turns 1 and 2, and unlike the Extreme 200 race earlier, we did manage to get through relatively cleanly. But side-by-side action between Max Cook and Charlie Nesbitt really is what defined the race. Side-by-side for so much of it, pretty much every single lap they were side-by-side for at least half of it, and then right at the very end, it was a big shame because of that fall for Charlie Nesbitt. Is up and is walking, so hopefully should be okay. Have a quick word with the medics, I'm sure, but they're over the line, still continuing to battle. That's how long their battle went on for. Will Howarth in all of this, winning Moto Team pretty convincingly, and with a great run to 2nd place overall, and taking the checkered flag then. And as we then have the end for the first race of the weekend for the Pit Bike 140s and Moto teams. They will be back out for 2 more races tomorrow, and we have just got 1 more race to end Saturday's proceedings, and that will be for the Senior Mini Motos. They head out onto circuit now to end Saturday's running from round 7 of the 2018 Cool FAB-Racing British Mini Bike Championships. You're listening to live coverage on social media, on the Cool FAB-Racing website and on motorsport.radio. But the grid will line up something along the lines of this. Well, it's a good entry this weekend for the Senior Mini Motos. It is Richard Holmes Williams who will start on pole position ahead of Will Howarth. Ryan Grant and Charlie Nesbitt due to start on Moto 2, but Charlie may not take to the start of this race after that slight tumble. Then it was Matt Birkin and Brandon Payne in 5th and 6th. Simon Huntingford and Andy Whedon are ahead of Josh Birkin and Paul Nichols to round out the top 10. Chris Yeomans, Craig Ashall, Danny Fuller, Mark Madams and then Christopher Madams rounding out the 15-strong order. And if last time's action at Glenny-Gores, Kiko Giles for the Senior Mini Motos was anything to go by, we are in certainly for some entertainment.
Oh, I can't be doing it anymore today.
You can tell your voice is going.
Oh my goodness me. We have had a proper bit of drama here today, from on-track action to commentary box invaders. What a day it's been, and what a nice sunny day it's been. So good to have the sun back with us for a whole weekend. It looks good for tomorrow. Weather looks good. Racing, we know, is going to be good.
So the riders waiting on the grid for the final time of the day. No Charlie Nesbitt. Unsurprisingly, a shame not to have Charlie in the race, but nonetheless probably going to have a bit of a lie down after that fantastic scrap in the last race, as the marshals just making sure everyone is in the correct positions. We are giving the all clear, and we are about to get the race underway. Richard Holmes-Williams versus Will Howarth. You're listening live on the Cool Fab Racing website and on motorsport.radio, as well as social media. Round 7 is about to get underway. Here we go then. The senior mini motos make the final race of the day starts, and it's up the inside for Richard Holmes-Williams. Not a great start from Richard, in all honesty, but did just about enough. Will Howarth, though, really coming back at him. Is not one position, but two positions flying through. Is Ryan Grant, we think. Someone running slowly through the first couple of corners. We're not sure who that is. We'll get information on that very shortly. But Richard Holmes-Williams is in the lead of the race. Someone running very deep on the exit of turn 4. And so far, it seems to be Richard Holmes-Williams ahead of Will Howarth and Ryan Grant. 4th place could be Brandon Payne. It's all getting very close as they make their way through turns 7 and 8 for the first time, and about to complete the first lap out of 9 into the chicane. And Richard Holmes-Williams making a good start. He's had a good few of them today, so he probably knows how to do it by now, Kiko.
Richard Holmes-Williams has been a bit of a dominant force in this class this year. Will Howarth looking to chase after him. Will Howarth is right with him as they come through turn 1. The flick left, then into turn 2, which throws you out wide but gives you a nice long run up towards turn 3, which is a bit of a quirky corner. Lots of different lines you can take through there. Will Howarth choosing to stick right to the rear end of Richard Holmes-Williams. Your race leader at the moment is Richard Holmes-Williams ahead of Will Howarth. In 3rd place, Ryan Grant. 4th place, Matt Birkin. That order sounds familiar from GYG. Let's hope it doesn't have the same outcome.
So as the race then gets well and truly underway, Richard Holmes-Williams, Will Howarth, your battle for the race lead. They're almost side by side. They're nose astern into the chicane. Not just 1 and 2, but 3 and 4, with Ryan Grant and Matt Birkin about to run side by side into the final corner. Richard Holmes-Williams, though, crosses the line, is just 0.141 ahead of Will Howarth. He's actually got the fastest lap on that last lap, so is really chasing down Richard Holmes-Williams. Got a great run out of turn 2, trying to look to riders inside line at turn 3. That's the right-handed corner. Couldn't quite make it stick, though. Has to wait for a few more moments. Ryan Grant remaining in 3rd place. Matt Birkin, with a lot brighter overalls than we might be used to, is in 4th place, just passing a slower rider in this race. Unfortunately seems to be pulling off to the left of turn number 6. Meanwhile, further down the order, we have got some great action also going on. It looks like Craig Ashall and Danny Fuller getting stuck in with Josh Birkin and Chris Yeomans. They've been having some great scraps over the course of the last year, Chris and Josh, so many of the Birkin family to enjoy. But over the line once again, and it is Richard Holmes-Williams leading this race, 4 tenths of a second clear of Will Howarth. Ryan Grant, Matt Birkin is in 3rd and 4th. It could well be Christopher Madams, who has stopped on the exit of turn number 4. Hasn't crossed the line yet, so we'll wait and call it in a moment. But yellow flags out for that bike to turn number 6. Still holding on for the race lead, though. Richard Holmes-Williams just getting the bit between his teeth, knuckling down, keeping the race lead. We've also got Andy Whedon now ahead of Brandon Payne. They're battling in 5th and 6th. They were 2 tenths over the line the last time. Has extended a little bit. Not quite as close as the battle at the moment going on between Chris Yeomans. Paul Nicholls is in there. Craig Ashall also trying to make a move on Josh Birkin. So a good few riders making a move, but foot off the bike for the number 96 of Will Howarth into turns 1 and 2. Really committed, just trying to stretch his leg, but with 4 laps completed and 5 laps left to go, this could be the turning point. Will Howarth, great run up to turn number 4. He just can't quite, Kiko, make it stick.
Can't make it work at turn 3 really at all. He's just not quite there. Will Howarth on the back of Richard Holmes-Williams, what we've seen so many times before. It's one thing catching and it's another thing passing. That is being shown on track right now because those two are streaks ahead of the field. Ryan Grant is third and just ahead of Matt Birkin. Not a lot between them, so we've got a good battle for first and second, a great battle for third and fourth. Bit of a lonely fifth place ride for Brandon Payne, he won't mind that. Andy Whedon in sixth, Simon Huntingford in seventh, and then a huge gap before we get to Chris Yeomans. But across the line, Richard Holmes-Williams ahead of Will Howarth. How many times have we said that this year? Will Howarth really much the second best in this championship at the moment to Richard Holmes-Williams. The championship is very, very close really, and it can get a lot closer, especially with 6 races still of this season to run, including the one we're watching right now.
And Down have gone third and fourth. Sorry to cut over you, Kiko. Ryan Grant and Matt Birkin have both gone down at turn number 3.
Ryan Grant again has gone down. I don't know whether those two caught up with each other, but Ryan Grant down out of third place. You can't help but feel his fan club are going to be not very happy with that one.
I can imagine not, but there's still time in the race to try and make up those positions. They're still trying to go side by side, Ryan Grant well and truly included, but the battle for the race lead also closing in up towards the line once again. A look over the left shoulder of Richard Holmes-Williams. 3 laps to go. It's 0.132 as they make their way into turns 1 and 2 between Richard Holmes-Williams and Will Howarth. And Will Howarth, a great run out to turn number 2. Used his rider's right-hand side, gets such a slingshot of a run, takes the race lead going into turn 3. He was much closer than before. He had the straight line speed. He just had enough of it to actually make the move this time. Consolidates it into turn 6. And it's got maybe a machine's length into turns 7 and 8. And this is where Will Howarth really needs to break the toe.
Will Howarth at the moment is your race leader, but I can't see him making too much progress over Richard Holmes-Williams. They're going to be tied together till the end of this race, I'm fairly sure of that. Into turn 10, into turn 11, the left-right flick, and then short burst into the last right-hander on this track. Richard Holmes-Williams is giving chase to Will Howarth, but at the moment no change apart from Will Howarth in the lead.
Oh, Will Howarth, though, has got 0.185 on Richard Holmes-Williams and has got superior straight line speed, but now Richard's got the slipstream.
Oh, hang on, Richard Holmes-Williams, someone has gone. Was that Richard Holmes-Williams?
Richard Holmes-Williams.
Richard Holmes-Williams has gone down. Can you believe it? Will Howarth, and more late drama in the race. Richard Holmes-Williams has gone down. Will Howarth, now I hope, for goodness sake, please look behind you. You do not need to be pushing on like this. Sorry to go over you, Dan, but Richard Holmes-Williams was halfway up a grass bank.
Well, he gave it a good go, didn't he? But with 1 lap now left to go for Will Howarth, he's coming through the final 2 corners. It's being shown the final lap flag, and this is going to be crunch time. Can Will Howarth hold on to the race lead? It's still Brandon Payne into third place, we must have said, with Ryan Grant and Matt Birkin 4th and 5th. They're still fighting it out. They might yet have another calamity together. They're through the final corner. Late move for Ryan Grant, has a bit of understeer, loses out the position, so maybe not quite worth it. But the race leader, Will Howarth, into turn number 6 with half a lap left to go. Touch wood, he says, is on course for a potential victory.
Should have it done now. Not many corners left to go. Bit of traffic in the way. Not sure who that is. Will Howarth has been around enough, long enough to know how to get around this. Only a short straight in between him and the next corner, which is turn 10, a left-hander. He's got through past the traffic. A dramatic day here in Northamptonshire for round 7 of Cool Fab, the last race of the day. Would you believe it? Will Howarth takes the win. How did he do that? Second place should be Richard Holmes-Williams, unless he's decided to find another embankment. No, he hasn't. He's come across the line in second. Brandon Payne, is he going to hold on for third? I don't think he is. I think that's Ryan Grant who's come across the line for third place. Neck and neck. Ryan Grant, did he get it? Yes, he did. Ryan Grant did take third, right off Brandon Payne, and Matt Birkin comes across the line in fifth. Andy Whedon in sixth place. What a fiasco there. Seventh will be Simon Huntingford. Incredible scenes.
Fantastic battle then between Ryan Grant and Brandon Payne through the final corner. Took it by just 74 hundredths of a second. They fist bumped going out of turn 2. They were delighted with that result, positively delighted with that result. So too is Will Howarth. He finally kept it going for an entire race. The 96 taking a great victory in the senior mini motos. Richard Holmes-Williams held on for quite a while, but then just struggled, made a mistake. That was all it needed. And that was the battle for the lead even. He lost it purely. Will Howarth, great straight line speed, but the start of the race was a challenge for Richard Holmes-Williams. He did though manage to consolidate it into turn 2. So Will Howarth dropping back immediately, then trying to get a great run out of turn 2. Got it, but then Richard Holmes-Williams made it back through again. So kept changing positions. The battle for the race lead really fighting on. That's also the battle for third and fourth, which I'm afraid to say didn't last much longer. Ryan Grant and Matt Birkin getting into contact with each other. Unfortunately, they're both up okay and into the race, but Ryan Grant took the win in the end. Well, Ryan Grant in third place. Just took third place, running very wide in the end, but just about holding off. That was a great run in the race, and Will Howarth the winner ahead of Richard Holmes-Williams. Ryan Grant was third over the line, and that was to confirm Will Howarth as the race winner. And into the final corner for the final time, Ryan Grant over the line, just keeping it and just taking a position. So great run there for Will Howarth. And that was it for the victory in race 1 of the senior mini motos, the first race for them of the weekend. And well, that's it really for this first Saturday's running, the first race of the weekend, round 7 of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championship. You've had some highs, you've had some lows, but it's been a fantastic day of racing though, Kiko.
The highs have been my voice when I got attacked by a wasp, but the lows have been the lows that everyone else on track has been experiencing as the visual race feed.
Replay then of Kiko's ordeal.
There's me stressing about an unidentified flying object or an unwelcomed flying object in the commentary box.
As Kiko's trying not to laugh, then noticing...
see, what he's doing there is he's laughing at my own joke I've just said.
And then noticing the wasp backing out of the entire commentary box, returning into it once he's realised it's gone, and then returning to laugh at himself. So all good fun here at Cool Fab. We all like to have a bit of fun.
It's all good fun, isn't it? And it's been great. A great display of racing out on track today as well. Lots of good racing. Not so many last lap battles, but some brilliant late race drama. Sorry, Spud.
Well, Charlie Nesbitt certainly had a great race in that one. And everyone's had some great racing today. What have your highlights been of the day? Please do let us know below. We'll read out a few of them in tomorrow's coverage. And thank you very much for joining us on the Cool Fab Racing website, on motorsport.radio and on social media. We're going to have even more fantastic coverage tomorrow, starting at around 10:20 for the start of the Junior LC40 Elite at 10:30. We'll bring you loads of action from both sets of racing from the penultimate round of the championship tomorrow. So thank you very much for joining us. Also a big thank you to all of the marshals and the medics who've been working very hard alongside race control to get us going in a very difficult period. A few red flags early on in the day. Worked through it very well. So a big thank you to all of you out there. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope to have you back with us tomorrow. So until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me.
It is go! This is the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship.